My name is Kyle Crane, and I'm dying. How the hell did I get here?
That indeed is a good question.
In 2014, a virus was devastating the city of Haran in Turkey, turning people into undead monsters. Wanting to help, I joined an organization called the GRE that claimed they could stop the spread and save the world. They lied. 99% of the global population was wiped out. Those left fought to survive every day, but infected known as Volatiles owned the night. They were fast, relentless, and damn near impossible to kill. Miraculously, some of us discovered we had a form of immunity to the virus, but our fate was worse than the infected. We were hunted, captured, and subjected to brutal experiments. I've survived 13 years of this torture. But I can't take any more. I'm at peace with dying. But I swear, if I had the chance to do just one thing, I would kill the bastard who's behind all this.
Dying Light the Beast is the fourth entry in the Dying Light franchise. Yes, I have not forgotten about Dying Light Bad Blood, the Battle Royale spin-off that Techland made and eventually scrapped. But this is the third single-player entry, and Dying Light the Beast is a very important game, not only for the series' future, but also for me. It's a game that I've been hotly anticipating for a few years now, after the absolute fumble that was Dying Light 2. But why is the Beast so important? Well, to me and most of the community, the Beast was basically a test for Techland to see if they fully understood what made the original Dying Light so great. To not spoil my eventual Dying Light 2 video, Dying Light 2 drifted away heavily from the core pillars that Dying Light 1 set out as the foundations of the franchise. It focused on realistic environments to tell grounded stories which embody the horror of a zombie apocalypse, in a fun sandbox which allows you to experiment with all kinds of weapons, tools, and environmental traps, and most importantly, the nights need to be scary. And to make it clear that they're trying to go back to the roots of the franchise and make sure they're back on track, they bring back Kyle Crane as the player character, and of course with Kyle we are graced by Roger Craig Smith once again as his voice. No hate to Jonah Scott, but personally I think Aiden's performance was two big problems with it. It was too anime-y, with him often being, let's say, a little bit of a moany character, and two, it felt like they were trying to replace Crane entirely. But has Techland done the impossible in Dying Light game? Have they finally been able to give us and write a good story? Well, let us find out together, shall we? Now, immediately when launching the game, the opening cutscene does a really good job at getting people up to speed. If you're one of the unlucky people who have not played Dying Light 1, this cutscene explains pretty much everything that you need to know. And if you want to know more, there is a previously on Dying Light video in the main menu. Or, you know, you could go watch my Dying Light video, which goes very in-depth into the entire game and its story. Cough cough, nudge nudge, I like that video, I'm very proud of it. But to make a long story short for you, Kyle Crane, after the events of Dying Light the DLC of that game, he turned into a sentient volatile, and in the years following, he was on the run from Big Pharma, but eventually he was captured by the GRE and then was turned into a guinea pig as he was handed off to the Baron, tinkering away at him, trying to figure out the secrets of his genetics for the last 13 years. The Baron basically wants to try replicate what happened to Crane and be able to use these sort of sentient volatile soldiers to make an almost unstoppable army so he can take over the world. Generic villain, you know, desires, but it's a good idea and it's a good setup. But now it means that Crane is half human, half volatile, and he is completely immune to the virus. Not only does it explain why he doesn't get infected and why he isn't infected, he's immune now, but also it does explain why he is pushing 50 and still able to run around like he is in his 20s, which, you know, is kind of crazy when you think about it. Now you might ask as well, how did the Baron turn him back from a volatile into a human, like physically? I thought the Volatile was a more in the head thing, like he was seeing Volatile on him because he was seeing himself as a monster, what he had become. But it kind of says that he did turn him back, like he was a Volatile and the Baron somehow turned him back, which yeah, I don't know, it's obviously voodoo your voodoo bitch sort of stuff, but he's back now basically. But the opening gives us a very clear objective for the entire game: revenge on the Baron for what he has done to Crane over the last 13 years. And yeah, it's a solid objective. There is nothing glorious about it. It is just sweet, simple revenge, which, hey, that works for me if the Baron is a good antagonist and is a good driving factor for us to continue the story. But how do we escape from the Baron's clutches? Well, with Crane catching some disease, we eventually reawaken to us being examined by some doctors. But keen-eyed players will notice two fine gentlemen in the background who don't seem like they belong here, and one of them will be very familiar to Dying Light veterans.
Hurry! Help me, quick! Get him up! Damn, I can't get these cuffs open!
That sounds like the Spike voice actor from 2.
Got it!
Yes, that is indeed Spike, the so-called brotherly friend that Crane had from the first game. So Spike has come to rescue Crane, but who is this other young white male with him? Who is the man working with Spike? Spike, the character, became a loner, someone that didn't really reach out to many and often worked on his own as a pilgrim. There is only one other man in the Dying Light franchise that Spike got close to while he was a pilgrim, a white male from another game. Yes, that is Aiden. I understand that this is meant to be sort of a big surprise, and that's why they tried to hide his face, but I think Techland forgot that we didn't see Aiden's face a lot, and they've already changed his design again from Dying Light 2. He looks nothing like he does in Dying Light 2, and unfortunately, because we don't see a lot of Spike, there's only one person this could be, and one person that would go along with him to save Crane. So yeah, this is Aiden. But the pair fail at their plan, with them of course getting captured, and then we get to hear a phone call after Crane blacks out again.
Yes?
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night.
You want them out? It will be dangerous. If he finds out... Yes, I'm in.
Well, it seems like someone has some sort of plan to break someone out of the Baron's facility. That person, of course, is Crane. But Crane now reawakens into being tested on again, and we get our first look at the Baron himself. The Baron is actually a pretty good character in my opinion, voiced by Jonathan Rhodes in one of his first sort of gaming appearances. He is more of a TV actor, appearing in most famously Andor, but he does a really good job here as the Baron, and he honestly has the potential to be a really good villain on the level of what something like Vast was, which is what Rise was inspired by. He just needs the screen time to do that. Spoiler alert, I don't think he gets enough screen time.
Surprising after what we've put you through. Though I must say, you've proven quite resilient. Too resilient. Stubborn. Rebellious. Which is why I'm writing you off. I found a new test subject, someone very promising. So I won't be needing you anymore. He's already more compliant and obedient than you ever were.
I'm gonna kill you.
After all these years, you still have some fight in you. It would be admirable if it wasn't so pathetic. Let's see what a double dose does to him. It could be lethal. If it kills him, so be it. A noble sacrifice for the greater good.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Not in this lifetime.
So the evil guy does evil stuff. He wants Crane to be killed off because he doesn't need him anymore, due to him having a new, better subject, Subject Beta. But of course, shit goes wrong. Subject Beta escapes and we get knocked out, but we are woken by a lass's voice.
Crane? Wake up! Wake up, damn it!
What the hell?
Oh my god. Crane, do you hear me? You need to grab the radio.
So we follow her instructions and grab the radio, and we get to meet Olivia, voiced by Rebecca Hansen, and she is one of the newer voice actresses, and she does a pretty good job. Honestly, one of the good performances in this game, but she sounds eerily similar to Jade, and at first I didn't like that, because I thought they were just trying to replace Jade and make a new Jade, if you will. But there is a reason for that. She is from Haran, spoilers alert. But she will act as a guide as we get accustomed to the outside world after staying in the Goon Cave gave for over a decade. And alongside the radio, we are also gifted an essential bit of kit, the flashlight with a UV function. Of course, this is essential for all of the Dying Light games. And now we have a Phantom Pain reference with us crawling our way through the facility with Olivia guiding us out.
Why are we doing like a Metal Gear Solid 5 though?
And we can see the entire facility going to shit. And with some adrenaline,
My heart's pounding like a motherfucker.
we are able to finally stand up and of course grab a shirt to cover our completely ripped body. But now we get to enter our first bit of combat with some fisticuffs, and honestly, I really like the combat. It feels like a blend of both Dying Light 2's combat system with the more heavy, weighty, impactful feeling that Dying Light 1's combat gave. For context, I was playing on Brutal, the hardest difficulty in the game, and it felt amazing hitting enemies. When you hit them with a sledgehammer, it felt like you had that insane impact that a sledgehammer would have. Hitting them with a knife, it felt fast, clean, and precise. But I think the thing that makes this combat system stand like above Dying Light 2's system, even though they are so similar, is two factors. One, physics. The enemies actually react to getting hit in this game. When you hit them with a baseball bat compared to a sledgehammer, you see the physical difference in them. When you swing a massive fire axe and cut a zombie in half, you feel that because the top half goes one way and the legs go the other. You feel that just pure power behind the attack, but also the visuals of the attacks themselves. I could be wrong, but the Beast I think has a new system to show gore. When you beat a zombie in the head with a baseball bat, you visually see their head get caved in. When you hit them with an axe, you see parts of their body get cut into and like just sort of carved open. You physically see the damage itself, and you can physically tell how much damage you've done to a zombie. You see their skin and muscles and limbs all come off. It's honestly really cool looking and really gory. But not only that, the combat gets more and more engaging as the game goes on. Of course, as you unlock more and more skills that you can tie into combat, you get more fun weapons that do way crazier things. You upgrade things like impact or give it fire, bleeding. This honestly is the best combat system and combat itself we have ever gotten from Techland. Yes, it still has the Dying Light clunk that's been there since Dead Island, where you get, comboed to death while you've been tripped over on the floor, or a human enemy that will block everything that you throw at them. But man, it is just so good. It takes what Dying Light 1 had and Dying Light 2 did well and just combines the two of them, and it makes such a good system. It ain't revolutionary, don't get me wrong. It ain't gonna change the game of combat systems, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's what Techland's done here. They've taken what worked and just added them together and made an even better system. It isn't broken, they both worked, they just took what worked in both and then combined them. But past that bit of combat, we now do a bit of stealthing when we stealth our way through a section, obviously teaching us about stealth in this game. Past that, we enter a holding facility.
Fuck, great.
And scrap some more of the unfortunate that are in our way. But unfortunately, the elevator doesn't work, and something goes wrong.
Not opening.
I'm working on it. Damn it. Someone must have locked it. Wait, let me try the emergency override. All right, the elevator is coming. But the other doors are opening too.
Come on!
And you might think, oh shit, that's a lot of zombies that we have to deal with. But don't worry, we get to play a little bit with Crane's new combat ability. The Rage mode. And honestly, I don't know. This was positioned as a massive, big evolution, a big addition to the combat system that has never been seen before in Dying Light. Spoiler alert, it's in Dying Light 2. This was only in scripted sections of Dying Light 2, the Rage part of it. And also, I hate to say this was in the following as well. Crane had this ability in the following in the final boss fight. They have just reused a system that they have made before and just allowed us to activate it whenever. Again, it's a cool feature, don't get me wrong, but my main problem here is they've They've just reused parts from Dying Light 2 and made them new features, and you might notice that a lot about this game. There is a lot of reused stuff from Dying Light 2, and if you don't know, there's a reason for that. The Beast itself started as the second DLC for Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 never received a second DLC. It got one and that was it. It was meant to have two. This is the second DLC. Techland decided, which I think is because of how poorly Dying Light 2 sold and how poorly it was received, that they were just going to turn the second DLC into a full game. I honestly believe that the second DLC was going to still have Crane in it, and it was going to be a Crane-focused story, but they expanded it more, they made it a full game. This is a full game, don't get me wrong. This is a full-on AAA game. There's enough meat on this game to warrant its price, but that means a lot mechanically and visually. This game shares a lot with Dying Light 2. Nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. Some of my favorite games are just the sort of spin-off games. Think of like Halo 3 ODST or Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. It doesn't bother me, but it does bother some people, and I think I should point that out. This is very much Dying Light 2, but different. It's a spin-off game. And while the Rage mode is a nice addition, and if you're playing on anything other than Brutal, you might find it a bit sort of pointless. Trust me, on Brutal, you are going to rely on it. It does add a level of variety to the combat that I think is definitely needed, but honestly, I think Rage modes in games are a little bit overdone at this point, because man, there is so many games that have Rage modes. Fucking Spider-Man 2 had one as well. And I know there's going to be so many more that get them. The next God of War is going to have it. The Wolverine game is going to have it. The next Dying Light is going to have it. It just feels like there's so many games that have a Rage mode within them that it's getting a bit tired now, and to me it's a bit lazy to add this as a system that's like, oh, this is so unique and adds so much variety. It does add a bit of variety, but man, you could have done a little bit more here. I also think the problem is it could have done something really cool and allowed you to kind of play as the Night Hunter with the Rage mode, if you kind of catch my drift, because the Night Hunter sort of movement has never really come back at all. But I can complain and bitch all I want, but it's still a decent system, don't get me wrong. But killing all the zombies and slapping them out the way, we are finally able to enter the elevator and head up it, with Olivia now explaining what the place we are in actually is.
What the hell is this place?
It's a research facility where the Baron conducts his experiments.
And I was one of the test subjects.
You were the main test subject.
It's a place where the Baron conducts all of his experiments, all of his little tests, and where he has all his fun playtime, with Crane being the main experiment that he was focusing on. But we have to escape this facility and we get to do some parkour. Now, what do I think of the parkour system? This is the best parkour system we have ever gotten in a video game. Full stop. It's weighty, it's grounded, it's satisfying, and most importantly, it's punishing. Maybe a bit too much, I think, at some points. I do have some complaints about some things, like the vault jump upgrade. I think just doesn't give enough height to really warrant using it and actually relying on it, because in Dying Light 1, I feel like I could use it all the time, but in this, I never felt like I got enough height off of it. But also, enemies are really grabby in this game, so much so that when you're running past them, if you even brush against them, they will hit you, or worse, completely grab you, completely killing your momentum, which is annoying. But overall, it's great. It takes what works from both games, merges the two together, and gives us the best parkour system we've gotten yet.
Oh, shit.
We are about to get trapped in, and we have to escape. So we have this pretty fun running section as we slide under the door.
Good opening. Really fucking good opening. Gets you into it, you know, like, the stakes, what's happening. You understand Crane's, like, desire and what his mission's going to be. It's good.
Damn, I agree. Anyway, escaping the facility, we get to escape into the outside world, and we get introduced to the Beast's greatest feat, its map.
Finally. Fuck. Hey, are you there? Do you copy?
Did you make it?
I'm outside, if that's what you mean.
Tell me what you see.
Trees.
Trees, a trail, mountains. Where the hell am I?
Casterwoods, a small town in the Western Alps.
Are you shitting me? Europe?
I'll explain everything. But right now, you need to get to safety. The infected are everywhere.
So where do I go?
Downhill, Follow the trail. When you reach the edge of the forest, you'll see an old monastery. I'll meet you there.
Wait, who are you? Why are you helping me? Hello? Hello? Great.
Wow. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Casterwoods, at first, I was a bit iffy about. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a well-made map for Dying Light specifically. I was scared it was going to be too much like The Following with the way it sort of approached this open world, with these massive open fields that you basically need the car to traverse. And parkour being the sort of secondary thing, a little thing you can do on the side, not the focus of the game, which it should be. But Casterwoods not only is the best looking map we have ever gotten, it's also the most well balanced one in Dying Light. Yes, I would have loved more verticality in line with Old Town from Dying Light 1 across more of the map to make it feel like, you know, more fun to run around it. That allows you to use more of the parkour systems a lot more often. But honestly, it is so well balanced, this map. I was scared that the game would either lean too heavily into either car traversal or foot traversal, but the game does a stellar job at making sure its entire map is designed around both being useful. You can drive the car everywhere. You can drive through Old Town with you can drive through the industrial zone, you can drive all over the map. But you can also run all over the map. There are shortcuts spread out all over the place that allow you to cut through these massive areas and make foot traversal better sometimes, because often when you use a car you have to take these winding paths around these roads because it's, you know, the countryside, it has winding roads. But foot traversal, you can just cut straight across fields. You can use the trees to fling yourself off with the grappling hook once you unlock it. It allows you to pick and choose how you want to move around the map, which I really do like. But not only that, throughout the entire game, both traversal systems are used pretty evenly, to be honest. Yes, you do more parkour, but the car isn't just non-existent. It is there at times, and I really do like that some missions entirely focus on the car traversal, because honestly, they've improved it a lot from not only The Following, but, you know, back in Dead Island. And while the car doesn't have the upgrade system that was present in The Following, it doesn't really need it, in my opinion, because it kind of felt, I hate to say this, pointless at times in The Following, because you didn't need to upgrade the car at all. But yeah, the cars are great, they feel fun to drive, and they feel heavy as well. Like hitting zombies feels fun with the car as well. But the map itself as well is designed in a way that certain areas are better suited for one or the other. So, for example, areas like Old Town or the Industrial Zone have these amazingly well-designed parkour paths that are just so fun to just dart through, and you can get through all of Old Town so quickly on foot, but on car, it takes a while. You got to go back and forth, winding all around these roads just to get through it, you know, dodging all these sort of broken down cars and everything. But then in somewhere like the farmlands, the car's obviously king. You can just dart across these fields with the car just flinging yourself over these hills, where if you were on foot, it would take you a little bit longer. It's realistic. That's what I like about this map. It makes sense how the traversal is split up between the different zones, but also the setting is just so good, honestly. I was a bit scared at first for a sort of rural setting, but man, it's great. It doesn't have that grimy horror that Dying Light 1 has for most of the game. You know, think about the tower and how it looked, the slums of Haran, Old Town, how just sort of dirty and grimy they felt, and how dark the map was, and just how disturbing it was seeing all these environments get turned like into nightmares. But this map is amazing. It's just a treat to explore. To me, the entire map reminds me of State of Decay's opening area in the campsite, and how fun that campsite was to explore for the first time. Yes, that is a very simple game, and fuck me, a State of Decay video would be kind of fun to make, I can't even lie. But I think Casterwoods kind of embodies that fun feeling and that desire to explore. And this is the greatest strength that the beast has. Its map that allows it to be fun to explore. This is the first map since Old Town and the slums that I actively wanted to run around and explore, finding secrets and try to reach certain areas of the map which I thought looked or sounded interesting. But even from a game design standpoint, the game world is made so well. So just to make my point apparent in case you don't realise what I mean, you have binoculars. These are the Far Cry style binoculars. You put them on your face and you can mark enemies with them. But if you climb up a cell tower or a very tall building, you can put the binoculars on and look across, the map. And you'll notice these big buildings that stick out from the tree line. These buildings act as physical markers for you to look at. You can put a pin on them, or you can go, I want to head in that direction. I want to see what's over there. It doesn't give you these markers on the map. You can physically see them, and then you, obviously as a player, want to discover these areas. So you look at them, go, I want to head over there. So you run over there. It encourages your own discovery. Techland have made massive strides in their open world game design, following in the footsteps of recent great open world games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Elden Ring. And not covering the map with a bunch of question marks and markers for us to go over and figure out what they are ourselves, it allows player curiosity to be the driving factor for the game itself. It allows for a natural and engaging exploration of the world. Yes, the game will place a question mark on a compass once you get close to these activities, but your own curiosity is the thing that led you to that place. You aren't coaxed over there by an objective marker. You wanted to head there in the first place. You wanted to see what that building was. You wanted to see what was on the other side of that hill, or what was in that tunnel. This is such a small thing to have, but it does the game wonders, and it really does show that Techland is learning from what they have done in previous games. They want to make these worlds and maps as immersive and engaging as possible. They want us to explore this as a true open world game. They don't want us to approach it like a Far Cry or a Watch Dogs. They want us to go in and actually explore. It's an open world game which has the foundations based on exploration and player discovery. Also, did I mention this game is just absolutely gorgeous, with it now having a full-on day-night and weather system in place. The day-night actually works as a day-night system. You have early morning into the midday, into the afternoon, into the night. The moon and sun actually move, allowing you to physically see the time in the world, but also the weather system adds a whole new layer of visuals to this game. On screen, I will have a clip of when a storm came through the game for me, and it just looks amazing. I honestly did not think they could make Dying Light look this good, because Techland, let's be honest, they haven't made visually amazing looking games ever. Dead Island wasn't amazing at the time, Dying Light wasn't amazing at the time, and Dying Light 2 definitely wasn't amazing at the time. But man, they've really stepped up with this game, and I'm excited to see what they can do with the next game, especially when that is a full-on next-gen game. Anyway, enough me glazing the game visually and its map. Let us continue with our objective, and we need to head to the monastery. And getting inside after a bit of climbing, we can enter the building, and we need to secure the building, which is teaching us about how to secure safe zones, with us having to kill all the infected in the building, as well as lock all the doors and turn the power back on to get those UV lights working again. And after all that...
Crane here. Do you copy?
Is the site secure?
Yeah.
I'm almost there. I'll meet you at the top of the tower. Crane? Wait, just wait.
Who the hell are
Olivia,
you?
I'm the one who's been talking
What
to
do you want from me?
I want to help you.
What do you want from me?
I want you to help me get away from this place.
Were you a prisoner too?
More like slave labor. But I wasn't there as long as you. I can't imagine what you've been through. At least now you're free.
No, not yet. Not until that fucker pays for what he did to me. All the years he took from me, all the agony he put me through.
You want revenge?
Damn right I do!
But you're in no condition to go after him. And even if you could, you can't take him on alone. The Baron controls the entire valley. He has an army.
And I'll kill every fucking one of them if I have to.
All right then. I'll help you get your revenge. And you get me out of this place. But first, you need to get your health back. And I can help you with that. You need meds to rebuild your stamina. Then you'll need equipment, supplies, and allies.
Well, I'm sure that asshole's made plenty of enemies. Let's find him.
Not until you get your strength back. And for that, we need to find GSP.
What's that?
It's a biocatalyst that improves performance. We created it in the lab.
You want me to go back into that lab?
Of course not. We can harvest it from the monsters the Baron created. He was testing some in the wild, including one right near here. Speak of the devil. That Kyle should be a Chimera.
But how do we get to... What did you call it?
GSB. Think of it as an energy booster.
And how do we get this booster out of it?
You're going to kill it. Once you do, I'll extract it using a special device that filters it from the blood.
And this is gonna make me stronger?
Boosters circulate in their blood and make them stronger. They should do the same for you.
Should? All right, but one step at a time. First, we'll take it down and then... we'll see.
Right. Here. This might come in handy.
So we are now given our very first objective, to kill a special type of zombie and collect a GSB, which this game loves saying, in order to enhance our abilities. And we enter our first Chimera boss fight. Chimeras are the Baron's special infected that he's released upon the world. He experimented on these people, zombies, and turned them into something new, something stronger, something perfected. In this boss fight, we fight the Reaper, which, man, I really love this design. But that's mainly because I always love gas masks on any character. For some reason, I have a weird liking for them on characters. Don't know why, just a fun thing that I like. Fun fact, I was going to wear a gas mask instead of the purple hat, but I chose not to. But anyway, what do I think of these specific boss fights? They start really strong in my opinion. For like the first 5 or 6, they're really good, but then they get really boring. Unfortunately, Dying Light the Beast doesn't introduce any new zombie types at all. This Reaper boss type is clearly the Charger from Dying Light 2, which is then a reuse of the Ram from Dead Island. I honestly forgot the Charger existed in Dying Light 2, so I just kept calling this charging enemy type the Ram while I was playing, and the Ram was a goated design in my opinion, and it was one of the best zombies from Dead Island, and I've always found it a shame that they never sort of went back to that design, especially with this game's mental asylum. I was really hoping that they would bring back the Ram design for the Charger, but they didn't, which, hey, you can't win them all, I guess. But all the bosses, except one boss fight, or 2 boss fights in this game actually, are just the regular special zombie types, but are bigger, stronger. They have maybe 1 or 2 extra moves. They might merge 2 together. Like, one of the bosses is this Charger enemy type, but it can spit, like the Spitter. And I just think that's kind of a shame, because 2 of them are Banshees, 2 of them are Chargers, quite a few of them are the Demolishers. 1 is a Volatile, and 1 is a Spitter. There isn't even a Goon boss fight that I can remember, or I'm pretty sure there isn't a Goon boss fight at all, and I just think that's kind of a shame. While many of these zombies have received much better designs in my opinion in comparison to what they had in Dying Light 2, which that was a massive issue I had with the game, was the zombie designs. My biggest issue to me with the designs in this game come with the Goon and the Demolisher. To me, in Dying Light 1, their designs were perfect, genuinely. The Goon was just the thug from Dead Island. It was a normal zombie, just bigger, stronger, and just tankier. That's all the Goon should have been. Now, they've kept the Dying Light 2 design, and I just don't like it. I understand what they're going for. They want sort of like a mini-boss enemy, but it kind of loses that idea of what the Goon was meant to be at first and what the thug was in Dead Island. I honestly think they need to add another zombie for the basic zombie sort of horde, just to add some variety to it, because they're all just virals and walkers, and I kind of want a bit of a tougher enemy in the mix. They do have the armored zombies, but they don't hit harder, and I just want something like the thug again, because the Goon has turned from what the thug was and is now the wrestler basically from Dead Island. It has one big arm that it slams around and flings all over the place, so it's kind of changed in a way from what it used to be, and I would love to see that original type of zombie come back. And the Demolisher is now just a very big Volatile, and design-wise I mean, especially the Chimera versions of the Demolisher. And honestly, I don't think this design is as good as what the Demolisher was in Dying Light 1. They had such a unique design and they were unlike anything else, but a lot of the more, let's say, mutated zombies have been made to look more and more like the Volatile, because that is the most iconic zombie from Dying Light, and they think that all of them need to follow that design. But the problem is even in their previous games that Techland made, like the Dead Island games, none of the zombies followed a sort of consistent theming. They all were very unique looking, and I think they're kind of missing the point of what made the design so cool in the first place. The Demolisher to me should follow more in line of what the tank was from Left 4 Dead. It should just be this bulging, muscly thing. It almost looks super unhealthy. But now it's this super lean, super muscular, super sort of just shredded zombie that just doesn't really work, in my opinion, because it kind of loses its unique identity in my eyes. Dying Light 1 had so many unique zombie designs that just looked so good, but 2 kind of just made them all look the same, which I just don't think that works very well, especially in terms of player standpoint when you're trying to look at a distance and figure out what zombies there are. Because man, I could bitch about all of the zombies in this game, genuinely. I think the Screamer is okay design, but again, we had the baby zombie and that was, in my opinion, the best one. Don't get me wrong, the Screamer in this is a lot better than the fucking Howler, which was a terrible design. It's good, but I'd still prefer the baby zombie back. Or fuck, even like the little girl zombie that was in fucking Dead Island, that Screamer zombie was really cool design. Obviously the Demolisher is just completely different, but also one of the ones that I really don't like is the Spitter. So the Toad and the Spitter are the same kind of zombie, but they have different names because they're completely different designs. But man, the Toad is such a better zombie. For some reason, Dying Light as well has completely forgotten, I think, an essential part of what made it so good to fight the different zombies, and that was the different noises they made. And if you're wondering what I'm on about, think about Left 4 Dead when you hear the signature noise of a zombie, the smoker cough, the hunter growl, the witch cry. You know what you have to face almost immediately. Dying Light had that. You would hear the Demolisher, you know, the rumbling and the growling of it, the goon, the noise it made, the screaming noise. Well, sort of the man screaming noise, I guess. The baby with it crying in the distance, the Volatile in their sort of howling, the Toads in their sort of toad noises, their weird ribbits. They all had such unique noises, and I found it very hard to distinguish the noises in this game between the zombies. The only one that had a really unique noise was the Spitter, but it sounded like the Spitter from Left 4 Dead with acid coming out of it. It sounded like it had something in its throat and it was throwing up. But man, I just miss some of these like cool noises they made. I really do miss the Toad a lot. I think the Toad was one of the best designs from Dying Light and is one that for some reason was just completely changed for no reason. And I think the new Spitter design is just worse. Genuinely, I think it's worse. I think you could make 2 different zombies that both spit acid because, hey, having multiple ranged zombies is something that's not really been done for a long time since like Left 4 Dead 2. But I don't think they should do 2 spitting zombies. I don't know, have something more fun and unique. One of the bosses throws these sort of like acid things at you. Imagine if they had one that is kind of like the Spitter from Left 4 Dead where it throws something at you and it leaves stuff on the floor. That'd be cool. Or, you know, make one breathe fire. This game does do weird shit, so why don't we go even crazy with the zombie types? However, I will praise one thing. The bomber design is so much better. It looks so good. I like the bomber. Obviously pulling inspiration from the boomer from Left 4 Dead. It looks great. I love it. But for new zombie types, a lot of people ask, well, what zombie types could you do? Just look back at Dead Island. Again, the goon has become something completely different, more like the wrestler from Dead Island. So I would say have a new zombie type that is like the thug. Have a new zombie type that is like the floater, a big, tanky zombie that can throw up at you. Or in my eyes, what I think, there needs to be a fast boss type enemy for the day. Something that is not as strong as the Volatile, but it's more akin to the Butcher. The Butcher was one of the most dangerous zombies from Dead Island because of how fast it attacked you and just how quickly it can overwhelm you. And I kind of miss it. I love the Butcher. It's one of my favorite zombie designs of all time. And I would love to see Techland make a new sort of boss enemy type that is akin to the Virals. The normal Shambler Walkers had the Goon originally, but the Virals don't have anything like that. I know people will say that the Volatile is that, but to me the Volatile isn't. The Volatile is basically every zombie sort of in one. It is as strong as the Demolisher, it is as fast as the Viral, it can spit like the Spitters, it's everything in one go. And that is what makes them so cool in their design. But I would like to see just more zombie types, genuinely. Something unique, something new. The Banshee is a really cool zombie that Dying Light 2 introduced, and I would love to just see them experiment more. Also, the Bolter is in this game, but it's really rare to find. Even when I was running around at night, I very rarely found a Bolter, which is kind of a shame because the Bolters are, again, one of the more fun zombies to try kill because of, you know, they don't attack you, you have to chase them. It's a role reversal. It's a great zombie. But let us continue on with the game. Killing our first big boy, we can collect its blood, and Crane decides there is no better time than now to have a quick nap.
All right. Now I need to extract the GSP.
What's happening?
Kyle! Look at me! Kyle! Kyle! Kyle, it's okay. You're safe now.
Oh shit. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Damn, what is this? Character development in my Dying Light game? Fuck you now, Techland, what are you doing? You're actually doing some writing here.
That last fight spiked your adrenaline. When it dropped, so did your heart rate. So I had to inject you with GSB.
You what?
You would have died otherwise.
So you just decided
To save your life. Yes.
Fine. I do feel better.
It boosted your immune system and sped up healing. Every Chimera has a different GSP, so each one will boost you in a different way.
What do you mean each Chimera has a different form of GSB?
Each variant of GSB alters the Chimera's genetic structure in a unique way.
So I need to hunt down more of them.
Yes. Each variant will affect you differently, making you stronger, faster, and more resilient. But GSB hasn't been used on someone like you. So we don't know what the long-term side effects might be.
Well, if it makes me strong enough to take on the Baron, that's all that matters. For now, let's just focus on finding allies.
Are you feeling well enough for that?
I'm gonna have to be.
Okay, well, when you're feeling up to it, come talk to me. I put out some clean clothes for you. We have a lot to do.
Clearly, Crane is still very haunted by the failures of his past, especially those back in Haran, with Jade being the central figure of his failure. She represents his regret and how he handled what happened back in Haran. And if you want to know, we actually learned a hell of a lot more about Crane in this game from side quests. First of all, I'm going to state this now, we now know why Crane is so good at what he does. He was a Green Beret in the army before he joined a PMC, a private military corporation or company, which then led him to be hired by the GRE. He was specifically chosen by the GRE and selected. He wasn't a GRE operative like I said before, he was a PMC operator and he was selected by the GRE to go into Haran. That explains why Crane was so against what was happening, why he didn't get along with the GRE that much, why he so randomly just sort of flipped sides. He was only doing it for a paycheck, but he started asking if he was willing to go that far for his paycheck. Also, the Green Beret explains why he's so fucking good with everything, why he can pick up a handgun and instantly use it, why he's able to parachute in. He would be very familiar with all of these things and kind of makes him cooler in my opinion and just is some great character. But also, more importantly, it does contextualize a lot more of his feelings towards a lot more of the characters. He refers to Spike as a brother, which obviously we don't see, but the game is telling us this now. He saw Spike as his brother, and Spike is the only one that I think stayed around in Haran and actually tried to help Crane with the tower. It is believed that Brecken ran off from the tower, or that he just was about, but we never see Brecken again after a certain point in this first game, and I like to believe that he ran away, because I think that could be a really cool story where he runs away from it all and escapes Haran, but then obviously the world falls again. I just think that'd be a cool idea. Or he died on the boat in the explosion when they tried to get out. Either that. Probably that, to be honest. Techland would do that. But Jade, more specifically, he actually loved. He felt something for her. A certain character will ask Crane if he had a wife at some point, kids, and he said that no, he didn't. He was single, he never even got the chance to meet someone, he was waiting to find the right person. But he did state that in Haran, there was someone he saw the potential of a future with. That is Jade. And honestly, I don't mind it. It is like, obviously there is almost no character there, like there's no relationship building there. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I think the way Crane talked about Jade in the first game, it makes sense. Honestly, it was very clear that they wanted to go more into that love story, but to me, it's even more of a shame that we just didn't get to see more of it. I would love to see how Techland would have handled that sort of relationship, because fuck me, the last time they did it in 2, it didn't really do that well, did it? But man, again, Dying Light 1 and just how glorious that game could have been. It's almost like they should maybe remake Dying Light 1 so they can actually fully flesh out the story entirely and build on these relationships they seemingly wanted to make happen but never did. That's my 5 cents. Of course, we will probably never get a Dying Light remake, and the game does not need a remake, but I would take a remake if they would expand the story more and actually do more character development with characters like Jade, Raheem, Brecken, and Spike. But these memories of Haran and everyone he failed, the loved one that he never got to blossom that relationship with, fills him with so much rage. And Olivia here isn't into what he's trying to do. But apart from that, Olivia informs us that what the GSBs are, and that we need to find as many as possible. What are they? They are boosters of some sort.
It boosted your immune system and sped up healing. Every Chimera has a different GSB, so each one will boost you in a different way.
Boost our infected power. They are, I don't know, something we inject into our bodies to get a upgrade point. She also can explain who the Baron is and why he has the facilities that he does, and gives us some answers that we might have about the Baron himself. He was from a rich family who owned a very successful pharmaceutical company. That company then partnered with the GRE, who were then trying to weaponize the virus, which explains why he's been making these super powerful mega zombies. Anyway, with Olivia giving us the injector, we can now head out into the valley, and we can start exploring to try find allies to gather to build an army to take the fight to the Baron. But you might have noticed in the dialogue a key story theme already has sort of planted itself. The theme of Kyle Crane turning into a monster. And goddamn it, Techland, we really are doing the same story with the same theme for the 3rd time in a row. Dying Light the Following's central theme, for fuck's sake, the DLC opened with a quote that basically told us what the theme was will Crane become a monster to save his friends? Will he do everything in his power to try save them? And in the end of it, he does that. He becomes that monster he's fought so hard against to not become to save his friends. He got the blue mist, but eventually he still became a zombie. That was the whole story of the Following, and that's what it was tying into. That's what that opening quote from the Following was talking about. Dying Light 2, I mean, fuck me, you have the Stay Human tagline. It was the central theme about becoming a monster, about trying to maintain your humanity in the apocalypse. And Aiden's trying to figure out who he was. Is he a monster? Who created him? All these themes, they all tied into the Stay Human tagline. But with the Beast, it's now, will Crane become a monster in his quest for revenge? I will be honest, I do know that the Following is like the best part of the Dying Light franchise to many, and it is what Techland see as the peak, because that's when Dying Light sort of really took off, because that's when they like relaunched the game in a way with the DLC, with like a kit. It was like, fuck me, it was like £20 for like the game and the DLC, which just came out, and it hit like 10 million players at the time. But my god, Techland, we don't need to copy everything from the Following. We can have different story beats, we can have different themes in the game. I get it, zombie apocalypse, do we become a monster? You know, the humans are always the monster, that's always the theme that these zombie things go into. But I hope Dying Light 3 does go into something a little bit different. Let's carry on with the story. First of all, we come to a small campsite with some smoke, and here we can restore a safe spot within one of the hunting towers, and these will act as respite during the night. As you will quickly learn, there are very, and I mean very few safe houses in the game. There are 2 types of safe places in this game. Safe houses, which are sort of bigger buildings that have a workbench within them, and then safe spots, which are normally just these towers. Safe spots are kind of the ones that you'll be using more to get away from volatiles while you're running around at night, sort of darting in between them, making sure that you got good routes and you can always get to one quickly when you've been spotted eventually. And if you need to build anything or buy anything, you'll go to either a safe house or one of the 2 main hubs of the game. Because in this game there is only 2 vendors, which, man, is kind of a shame. I really do wish Techland would figure out a way to make the vendor a bit more accessible amongst the safe houses, because it results in them feeling almost, and I mean this, pointless. The only thing I really bought from the vendors in this game was materials. I didn't really buy weapons. I did buy the armor, because it was, armor that looks different, but the weapons were just so useless. I really wish they would add something better to buy from them, but I don't know what you could give them to buy. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's something they could do for the next game, but it's just a small complaint I have. They just feel kind of pointless and tacked on. But after spending enough time searching this area, we eventually will receive a radio transmission.
Mayday! 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 We're under attack at the town hall. Something is trying to get in and we can't.
Olivia, you hear that?
The town hall. It's in the city center. Sounds like there are survivors there.
I just hope I can get there in time.
Good luck.
Well, it appears someone is in trouble, and we dart over to the main town area of the game, called Old Town. I wonder if they're trying to reference something there. It's the Dying Light 1 map's name. Old Town is very reminiscent of Old Town from Dying Light 1, and it is probably the main area that you'll spend most of the game within. And I love it. It is easily the best designed area in the entire game, not only from just like visuals, but also for parkour and just the content that's within it. It is such an interesting area to look around and just see how nice it looks and how rich in history it is, but also it is just a treat to parkour through. It is so dense that the pathing you take will never be the same, which is crazy. But reaching the town hall and entering it, we can find people have recently left this plane of existence.
What the hell happened here?
Volatile.
And we receive our very first gun. Jesus, that is a lot earlier than both games. Dying Light 2 didn't even have any guns with the excuse of, oh, guns wouldn't be used at this point in the apocalypse because they would have run out of ammo. They were just being lazy. It's very funny how fast they backtracked on that. They were just being lazy in Dying Light 2. Anyway, here we fight our very next Chimera, the Defect, which is the Demolisher type enemy, and this boss fight is really easy, which is obvious by the name of the enemy. It is a defective Chimera. And with Crane killing it very quickly, he again extracts its blood and proceeds to inject himself with a GSB.
Fucking cow!
Gaining more beast power. But now we meet the people of the town hall and we offer to help the sheriff, the leader of the town hall. So we need to make our way to the top of the tower. But first we meet a man who seemingly has taken quite a nasty bite.
The sheriff.
She's up top, but this biter broke the damn ladder.
I'll manage. You okay here?
Oh yeah, great. Here, you're going to need this a lot more than me.
How bad for him? I'm sure they'll have some antizin to give him. Anyway, with some more bullets, we ascend further and meet the sheriff.
Hands where I can see him!
Whoa, 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 hold it, I'm a good guy.
Prove it.
The name's Kyle, your friend sent me. I'm here to help.
The sheriff. God damn, that name is so stupid. Giving a character a name like this doesn't make them cool, like the governor from The Walking Dead. The sheriff is voiced by Liz Murray, and man, I hate to say this, I just don't like her character. She feels almost pointless to me, and I hate saying this. Performance-wise, yeah, she's fine. I think Liz Murray does a stellar job. You know, I wasn't pulled out by her. I didn't think, ooh, that was a bit iffy. She does a great job. But just character-wise and, like, her role in the story, she's barely a character. Like, man, if you think Dying Light 1 is, like, bad for character development, Jesus, she gets nothing. And this is going to be one of my main complaints. Techland doesn't seem to understand that they need to develop all the characters. Not just some, all of them. If they want us to care about a character like the sheriff or the other side characters that, you know, we have, they need to develop them more and actually show us them. I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying they're non-existent. Like, she adds nothing to the story and she is just there to be an ally to Crane. She's not there to have any sort of arc herself, which I think is a shame. I know people will say she does have an arc, she has a whole arc with Crane, but I think it isn't written very well personally. We'll get into that in a bit. But we need to help her, so we do that by reconnecting the power for the town hall with her covering us. So quickly running around the roofs, we fix the power with we do the cable puzzle, which is a simple puzzle but is fun enough because it incorporates the parkour in a fun way, having to make sure that you give enough room for the cable to reach where you need to plug it in. Doing so and restoring the power, we can return to the town hall and see how they deal with the infected.
The town hall's secure. Thanks for the help.
No problem.
I'm guessing this ain't your first rodeo?
No, ma'am.
Good thing you heard our distress call. We were lucky.
Not all of us.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, Sheriff. I let you down.
You didn't know such thing.
It's a fresh bite. We just need some antizin and we can...
Antizin. We haven't seen any of that in years.
But we have UV.
Shrooms and hopes and prayers and positive vibes, like any of that shit works. Sheriff, I just want you to know, it's been an honor.
Wait! Why the hell would he do that?
To keep us safe. I'm going to need some volunteers to prepare him for burial.
We're losing too many good people, Sheriff. Death or exile can't be our only two options. There has to be another way.
I wish there was, Jacob. But there isn't.
I know you think you're protecting us, but...
That's right. I'm protecting us. Once you're bitten, that's it.
No, that's not true. With proper treatment, he...
What treatment? From where? We're alone out here. Look, Kyle, I appreciate your help, but we have rules, and everyone here abides by them. If I was the one bitten, I would have done the same thing.
Are you two finished? Because we don't have time for this shit. We're not safe here. Not with that monster out there.
Rangers, I want sentries posted. And extra guards on the generators. We're sitting ducks if those UV lights go out again.
I'm not sure that's enough. That thing is more dangerous than anything we've seen before. What do we do if it comes back?
Comes back? What do you mean? I already killed it.
You didn't kill the beast. You killed a different monster.
There's another one?
When I was up in the tower, I saw it take off across the rooftops. If we're lucky, maybe it'll move on.
Luck isn't something we've been blessed with lately.
All this talk isn't making us any safer. Let's just do what needs to be done.
Come find me later. My room's upstairs. I have something I'd like to talk to you about.
I really like this cutscene as well because it shows how just completely different the world is now. From when Crane was captured 13 years ago and him coming out now, he is coming into a completely different world. You know, he talks about a drug that has not existed for over a decade and as in either ran out or stopped working years ago. But he obviously is thinking how we used to think, oh, we just need to get Anderson, we can save him. Well, you can't do that now. He has to adapt to a new world. He has to adapt to a new way of survival. And obviously it puts more pressure now on a lot of the other characters. If you care about them, if they get bit, well, they're probably going to die because Anderson doesn't exist anymore. We can't go out running and grab them some Anderson, bring it back and keep them alive for a little bit longer. They've just completely removed it. I really do wish though that they would have sort of tied in sort of almost like a survival based sort of management thing. Like imagine taking the State of Decay, which has a very simple system of maintaining a base, but adding that to Dying Light and tying in like a Dead Rising sort of timer system where you have to run out and grab Anderson, bring it back to keep survivors alive in your base. I think that'd be cool and I really wish they would do that, but obviously as we're getting further into the apocalypse now, there isn't really a good way to do this and make it feel realistic because obviously in Dying Light 1 you had the airdrops, which made sense. We're so far into the future now that the world's completely fallen. There is no outside help anymore. Kind of a shame in my opinion, I will be honest. Because I feel like that'd be such a cool game design sort of thing to have, because you then obviously pay homage to another one of the great zombie games in Dead Rising. But yeah, they just shoot any infected or exile them from the town hall. But now we need to go meet with a Jacob, who, by the way, is voiced by Tommy Earl Jenkins. If you don't know that name, that is the voice actor for Die Hard Man from Death Stranding, which, fuck me, I didn't even realize it's the same actor because he does that good of a job. He is an outstanding actor and he is honestly the highlight of Death Stranding in my opinion, and I really do wish they used him more because, man, they got a good actor in this game who very easily could have given an outstanding performance for any character, but he's kind of sidelined a lot, and I don't know if that's because they either A, couldn't afford to use him too much, or B, because he was busy, or they just didn't want to use him. I kind of think it's probably the third option. I just don't think they wanted to use him because Techland does seem to like writing certain kinds of characters, I've noticed. To me, it's just a shame how little they used him, and I just wish we got him more because I think he could have been a really cool character if they wrote a cool character around him.
You had something you wanted to talk about?
That creature that attacked us, it followed the Baron's men here. They were desperate for shelter, and when we opened the outer door, the monster followed them into the courtyard. It attacked them viciously and moved so quickly, and we were lucky to get away. I still don't know why it didn't attack us, but I worry it might return, and I was wondering if you would be willing to hunt it down.
Maybe. But if I do, I'd need you to do something for me.
And what might that be?
I don't know yet, but I'll let you know when I do.
The sheriff last saw it running across the rooftops. You can probably pick up its trail there. Be careful, though. Volatiles own the night. If they spot you, your only chance is to flee and find shelter in a place with UV protection. Or try to hide until it's safe.
Perfectly fine character. He is there just to sort of more give us information and tell us what's going on at the town hall. And after meeting him, he tells us that he wants to do a trade for us. We do some work for him, he will give us one favor. A great steal, a great offer. Will we accept that trade? Of course, because our one favor is going to ask them to go to war for us. Seems fair. But what is this job that he wants us to do? Well, he wants us to follow the beast and make sure it cannot come back to the town hall. So we go outside and we start to track it. And exiting, we can find the beast's trail almost immediately. But while doing this, we also get to experience our very first night.
It sure tore through here.
And man, the nights in this game are fucking amazing. Not only are the volatiles deadly and terrifying, but the atmosphere, the noises, the echoing of the howling of the volatiles, how the wind sort of whistles past you, how the trees, you can hear them groaning in the distance, how dark the game actually is so good. It kept me on edge for the whole time. Also, the nights are just really hard in this game to actually sort of fight. Even in Dying Light 1, with a shotgun, you could kill volatiles. On the hardest difficulty in the following, I would shoot alpha volatiles in the head, killing in one shot. You can't really do this in this game, which I like. The volatiles, I think, should be something that you should always run away from. I don't think you should really, honestly, be able to consistently kill them. I did kill one by accident somehow. I don't know how I did it. I just did. But I think they should always be something you should avoid at all costs. But just how tense the game is, it really reminded me of what Dying Light felt like to me when I was, 12 playing it for the first time, which I didn't think I could feel feelings like that ever again, and I did with this game, which is crazy to me. And luckily, the game does really encourage nighttime gameplay, with of course the standard double XP that you get from everything you do in the game, from running around to looting to fighting, but also there is some nighttime activities with specific nighttime events that take place, but also obviously the bolters that appear, and of course volatile nests make a return in this game, with all of them providing better materials and sort of very valuable resources that you can use for upgrades. My only complaint would be that there is not a lot of night-only quests. I really wish there was more night quests in this game, because Dying Light 1 had them. They had quests that would lock you out to certain times, and even Dying Light 2 had that. The Dark Zones in Dying Light 2, it was encouraged that you enter them during the night, because all the zombies would come out onto the street and you would go into where they would hide during the day. But in this, there isn't really a lot of night-only activities, which is kind of a shame to me. I wish there was more. This is a very nitpicky thing for me to point out, but I just wish there was more night-exclusive activities. However, with us following the tracks of the beasts, we eventually see where it got off to. That explosion. So darting over to that explosion over the rooftops, which, man, it is really fun, the parkour in this game, I just cannot lie, we find a military convoy that has been completely destroyed, and collecting a radio, we can discover where the beast has gotten off to.
We need reinforcements! It's after us!
Where are you?
We're holed up in the church! It's trying to break in!
So now we head over to the church and meet the beast.
Help me! Shit!
where the beast now rings the dinner bell and thus a hell of a lot of zombies come to get us. But clearing them out, we ascend the tower to find the beast, but getting outside, it's already gone. But we can hear another one of the Baron's squads is in danger, so we head over to the train tunnel where they were being attacked, and in the train tunnel we find a path of destruction left by the beast, and through here we can find one is still alive.
It's still here.
Holy fuck.
Well, seems the beast saved us from the explosion, but caused a cave-in. With the beast now running off, we tell Jacob where we are and what has happened, and he tells us that we've done a good enough job and that it should take a very long time for the beast to even come back to them. And if that wasn't good enough reason to get out of the cave...
Oh, fuck.
We get reunited with our favourite friends. And we get to have our first chase sequence.
Birmingham is a fucking shithole! I fucking hate it!
And Kyle reports what the beast was to Olivia after that chase.
Olivia, it's Crane. Do you copy?
I copy. You okay?
Another creature that attacked the town hall? It's not a chimera. It looked more like a volatile, but it attacked in broad daylight.
No wonder those people were so terrified.
Something else. It seemed smarter than the others. A lot smarter. Caught me off guard. Nearly choked me out.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I've been better.
Before you go back to the town hall, can you swing by here? There's something we need to talk about.
Aren't we talking now?
It's about the chimeras. Just stop by when you can, okay?
Well, with us informing about the beast, we now need to head back and talk to her about something, obviously about the other chimeras.
Here's your sample. Now, what did you want to talk to me about?
My theory. A second sample was essential in order to confirm it.
What theory?
I've been analyzing the genetic structure, and I noticed a strange sequence in the code.
Meaning what?
These chimeras may share a portion of the same genetic structure.
Well, that makes sense though, right? They all come from the same virus.
I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about a totally separate sequence deliberately modified for a specific purpose. Give me your arm. I need to check something.
What, you're gonna juice me up again?
Relax. I just need a blood sample. I want to test how your blood reacts to the extracted plasma. I've pinpointed a potential location where you might encounter another chimera.
How much more of that GSB do I need? I don't want to end up like one of them.
You won't. That's not how it works. But if you want a real shot at taking down the Baron, this is what you need to do.
You keep saying that.
Because it's true.
All right. Then where do I find this thing?
Here. It's swampy, hostile terrain. But I found records indicating they transported that chimera there.
Okay. I'll let you know what I find.
Okay, so I put this cutscene here for a specific reason, and this is a big complaint I have about this game entirely. Crane is written really odd to me. To me, he sounds really pissed off all the time and constantly complaining about, oh, I don't want to turn into a monster. I don't want to keep injecting myself. Is this safe for me to inject this? And then Olivia tells him, oh, it's safe. And he goes, oh, okay, I'll inject it. Immediately. He just complains, is told, no, you're wrong, do it, and then he just does it. He's written really odd to me, and he's written like an idiot. I definitely think this game has different writers. It probably does. I could be wrong to Dying Light 1, but it's almost like they didn't understand Crane as a character, and they're kind of just seeing him as a angry, aggressive meathead with no smarts about him. It's like they just watched the final cutscene with him and Rise where he just tells him to shut the fuck up, and that's all they saw of Crane. Again, Crane was barely a character in Dying Light 1. I will admit that, but there was nuances to his character. He was a very intelligent man, and he's a Green Beret. He was hired on his own to infiltrate a group within Haran. He is smart. He is not an idiot. Yes, I know 13 years have passed. He has been 13 years being tortured. I understand that. There is going to be a character change, but I don't think that the character change should be a big idiot meathead character. I think he should just be a little angry, not, an idiot. I know this is such a nitpicky complaint, but multiple times throughout the game, I ever found myself feeling like I don't think Crane would say that, or just fucking laughing because Roger Craig Smith, I can tell, was reading these lines and trying not to laugh because of how fucking stupid some of them are. But man, I want whatever these writers are smoking, man. Again, it's not bad, it's just like inconsistent, and I think that's worse because it makes it just harder to take seriously. I want to take this story seriously because you should take stories seriously, but it doesn't feel like the writers were taking the story seriously, which I think is a bit of a shame. TLDR, Crane just feels very inconsistent in his way of acting and his opinions on what's going on and what's being done to him and what's happening to him. That's it. But Olivia gave us a new target that we need to hunt down to get even stronger, despite Crane, again, not wanting to turn into a monster, but he folds almost immediately as soon as a pretty woman tells him it's okay. I mean, the last time a pretty woman told him to do anything, he did it without question, so maybe that's one of his character traits, and I mean, do we blame him? Let's carry on. Reaching our location of the Chimera and clearing out the area, we reach a foggy bit of bog, and here we can engage with our next Chimera boss fight. The Mist. This boss fight is just the Banshee type of enemy. It's still really fun, but after beating it, again, we extract the GSB. We inject it, we tell Olivia what happened, and while we wait for Olivia to find another Chimera, we head back to the town hall to see if they need any help. I am noticing a pattern almost immediately with how this game is structured.
Come.
Just watch yourself out there. Kyle, we got a problem. Our backup system is just that. Backup. I'm not sure how much longer it's going to last.
What are you saying?
The plant that powered the town went down about a month ago. We tried contacting the foreman there, but there's no answer.
I sent a squad of rangers to see what was going on, and they never returned. I sent a second squad, and they disappeared too. I asked for volunteers for a third squad, but no one stepped up, and frankly, I can't blame them. So I said I'd go.
And I told her no. If we lose her, we lose our last shred of hope.
Look, I'm no electrician, but maybe I can go check it out and at least see what's going on.
I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to be presumptuous.
But if we can get the power back on, we might just have a chance here.
I'll see what I can do, but no promises.
Thank you, Kyle. People around here are starting to lose faith.
I guess they don't trust that God is watching out for us anymore.
God is watching out for us. He sent us Kyle.
So now we need to head out back to the power plant in order to restore the power to the entire area of Casterwoods, with a warning that it is indeed very, very dangerous. Do these people not know who we are? We are motherfucking Kyle Crane. We have been in much more dangerous situations. We agreed to the job on the basis that they will guarantee that we get one favor from them in the future. They agree, so we head out, thus giving us a new ally against the Baron when we decide to make our attack on him. And immediately reaching the power plant, someone will call out to us.
You? Yeah, you! Better stay back! There are biters everywhere and they will tear you to shreds!
Guess that foreman is still alive after all.
It's the foreman, and parkouring our way into an open window, we can meet with the fine man.
You the foreman?
Yeah. Largo, how the hell did you get in here?
Same way you did.
And now you're as trapped as I am. You stupid pig-headed idiot.
I'm trying to help you here, moron.
I'm the moron. Didn't I tell you not to come here?
Well, you couldn't fix it?
Fix it? Fuck that. I'm not going down there. They would tear me apart.
How about I try? We can stay on the radio and you can guide me through.
Guide you through? Something blew up down there. Half the building is flooded. What kind of idiot are you?
Just the kind of idiot that'll kick your ass if you don't adjust your goddamn attitude.
Fine. You won't go down there? Have at it. It's your funeral.
Love that can-do spirit. So where do I start? How do I get in?
Get on the roof. I'll point you in the right direction.
Keep your radio on. The name's Crane, by the way.
Now, immediately, Crane is so fucking hostile with Largo here, and throughout the entire process of getting the power back on, Crane makes it very apparent that he doesn't like him, which then makes us, the player, not like him. And I know why they did this, but I just, honestly, Crane just needs to chill out a bit, I think. Draining the water, we can meet the bombers again in all of their exploding glory, and fixing the pumps and turbines, we can restore the power again. And now we return to Largo for him to give us something.
Got to hand it to you. Don't give up easy.
Well, you sure didn't make it easy.
That's because the Baron shut this plant down for a reason. And he wanted it to stay that way. Yeah, I work for the big man. Did I forget to mention that?
What a twist. I didn't see this coming at all because, you know, the writers wanted to make us not like Largo. Largo was being difficult because he was working for the Baron's men. Throughout the entire time of us trying to fix it, he was being difficult, saying, oh, it's impossible, making jokes, being slow, not helping us. He was making it as difficult as possible, so we didn't obviously fix it. The Baron told him to turn the power off, but Crane was there and he can't stop Crane because he physically knows he can't kill him. But now the Baron's men have captured Kyle again, and this is a part which has some really funny lines to me.
I wouldn't push me if I were you. You don't want to piss me off.
Honestly, it's just fucking funny. We now deal with all the Baron's men, of course, and once killing them all, we then turn the power back on, and we can now head back to the town hall and meet back up with the sheriff and Jacob.
And I'm grateful, but I worry about sending our people out there. And we can't make an enemy of the Baron.
He's already our enemy.
Without power, we might not survive here, but we can't stand against the Baron. He has an army.
We can. If we can get all the other survivors in the valley to stand with us.
And how are we going to do that? Everyone is just fighting to survive.
I'm with Florence on this one, Crane. Open war with the Baron would be suicide.
So we take our time, gather allies, keep an eye on what he's doing, learn what we can, get intel on him.
I like that idea.
I'm not so sure, Jacob. We should focus on rebuilding this place. Especially now that the power's back on.
Why can't we do both? Concentrate on rebuilding and keep watch on the Baron. They know me, so I'm thinking you should send some rangers out to check on what his men are up to. Meanwhile, I'll help get this place up and running.
Fine. I'll send some patrols to keep an eye on the Baron's men.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Let me know what
I also find this scene so funny because of how Jacob just talks in it. He initially completely disagrees with us, then Crane states the obvious, oh, we take our time, we gather allies, what you should do. And then Jacob just goes, I like that idea, I agree with Crane, completely backtracking on the idea of staying out of the way of the Baron because they will die. I just find it funny. It is written so weird in my eyes. It's like none of these characters have any sort of critical thinking on their own. They just go with whatever's being told to them. It's just, I just find it stupid. Anyway, with scouting of the Baron's patrols being agreed upon to try figure out what the Baron's whereabouts actually are, we can leave and immediately we get a call from Olivia. Yes, we're going to go fight another Chimera. I bet you can see what the pattern is. We do a quest with them, a quest with her, a quest with them. It's just that the entire game. This is how the game is structured and paced. And do I like it? It's okay. It's alright. I think you definitely could have done it in a better way. But honestly, it's not like the game's slow, but I do definitely have a complaint about the pacing in this game. Like, I will leave that for later. But at this point, we get to experience my most hated things in all of games. If a game does this, I hate it. We get level checked. Yep, we have to be a recommended level for this mission, which I hate. I was like level 4 and the game was recommending a level 6. This basically just forces you to engage with some of the side content, which is not bad, but the way I play games is I blitz all the main content first in like one go to make sure I understand the story, I can get it all in my head and I understand it all, and then I do the side content, because the side content is completely different and often is better for Dying Light as well. It's what I did for the Dying Light 1 video, it's probably what I'll do for the Dying Light 2 video, and I would have done it for this video if the game didn't force me to do side content. But with us having to do some grinding, I guess we should talk about some side content now. Just like the previous games in the Dying Light series, to me, the Beast's main meat of its game will be in its side content and activities, which not only is there a good range of them, they are all fairly fun to do, from unlocking safe houses and save spots, restoring power to districts, the return of dark zones, from 2 which are very good and a solid way to farm resources when you need them, to random events and military convoys, volatile nests, and of course, side missions. And the side missions are actually really good in this game as well, like really good, having some great messages within them and stories within them as well. And in my eyes, they're the better part of the game, they tell the better stories within them. From helping a lost father suffering from dementia, to helping 2 brothers face reality that one of them is going to die, a fun voodoo doctor allowing Crane to face his past traumas, and so much more. Again, the side quests are the best part of this game, and I honestly heavily encourage you to do them even more than Dying Light 1, because this game actually has a lot of character development within them, not only for Crane, but a lot of characters that just are not in like the main story. For me, there was a really hard-hitting one with the 2 brothers, with a message about appreciating the little things in life, you know, not taking life for granted, loving every day that you get of life, and I think that's something a lot of people forget, especially nowadays. And this is the fucking side mission. I think it also helps that one of the characters is voiced by Nicole's voice actor from Xenoblade 3, so obviously I like it because I'm a fucking Xenoblade head, but it just, you know, it made me reflect again. Yeah, it made me appreciate life, it made me appreciate every day I get, and when a game makes me do that, I love it even more, and the side missions made me do that a lot. And I think this is when Dying Light is at its strongest, when you're doing the side activities. It's at its best when the game just gives you a bunch of objectives that you can go around and do whenever you want. You can tackle them however you want in any order that you want. You can, you know, drive into a base with a C4 strapped to the car and blow it up, or you can go in sneaky peeky like MGS style, not alerting anyone and killing everything in sight. It's entirely up to you, and honestly, the free roam experience is at its best in the Beast. My only complaint about the free roam and side activities would be I just want more of it. I just want more side activities and more open world to go through, and whenever I have that complaint, it's always a good thing. It's the same complaint I had about something like Claire Obscure. I just wanted more of it. But after enough grinding, we get back to the main quest line, which once you reach the specified level and after speaking with the sheriff to ask about the Baron's activities, it will lead us to investigate these monuments themselves, where there is a hell of a lot of zombies, which of course we need to clear out. And once doing so, we can look at a rather interesting device, and asking Olivia about it, she asks if there's any containers nearby. And nearby we can find an empty one in a shipping container. So now Olivia tells us that the substance inside originates from the EMF plant. So now we head over there, but first we need to secure a safe house and get some rest before assaulting the facility, as it's believed that the Baron has a lot of men stationed there right now. But bright and early in the morning, we head there and reach a key area that the game has, the industrial area, and I really like this area. This is the area that the developers used to showcase the entire gameplay and how open the game's missions were, and there's a good reason for this. This is a highlight area of the game. The industrial area is probably second to Old Town. It's just really fun with these like huge smokestacks that you can climb, really flexing how open the game has become in terms of how you can approach the encounters. I just really enjoy this game in general with how it allows you to approach everything, and also it's really fun to climb the smokestacks, I can't lie. But now actually getting to the plant, we have to infiltrate this place, and this mission is the one that Techland used to demonstrate the game part of the gameplay trailer, and there is really good reason for this. This is probably the best made area and best made mission in the games, and in terms of not only how open and how you can approach it however you want, but also this mission just has every type of gameplay in it. Parkour, stealth, loud fighting, gunfights, melee, card traversal, and of course at the end a boss fight. Now as you're playing this game though, you might notice these generators scattered about. Of course you can do these missions at night, and when it's at night, these generators are used to turn on UV lamps. Now if you turn these generators off, it allows the infected to attack the human enemies for you. So turning them off in stealth, getting some firecrackers and just lobbing them in at them, you will attract a few virals and probably some volatiles to do the work for you. Which, man, is such a cool way to handle this game, I can't even lie. But actually entering the plant, of course, shit hits the fan almost immediately.
Me inside!
What the hell?
It's breaking out!
Whatever they are holding here just broke free, and we now enter a massive shootout, and thankfully the shooting mechanics in this game are actually really good. Shooting feels really good in this game, I can't even lie. A lot better than Dying Light 1 in my opinion. But within the room we can find a cage and a massive hole busted through it. In searching we can find a scientist, and Crane is of course very friendly to the scientist.
You! What the hell are you doing here?
Who are you?
Answer the question, asshole!
I can't. He will.
Start talking.
Okay. We're testing a new virus strain.
What new strain?
For the chimeras. You know, the freaks.
Tell me where it is.
It escaped. Ran towards the forest.
Fucking great.
But you can still find it.
How?
Wait. You can lure it.
With what?
A special gas.
Gas?
There's a storage room in the basement. Take a gas canister and put it in the dispenser. It will lure the chimera there.
So that's what those devices are for.
There's one in the junkyard near the forest. He's close enough to lure it from the woods. Fire it up and the freaks will come to you. Please, don't kill me. I've told you everything, I swear.
I believe you.
But we learn what the machine actually is. It's used to dispense a gas which attracts the chimeras themselves, a rage gas if you will, an inverse of the blue gas we once saw in the following. You know, it's red, so that means they get very angry, and blue means they get chill. So knowing this now, we collect one of the canisters and we take it to the junkyard, placing it into one of the machines so we can disperse the gas into the air.
Too quiet.
Well, first we need to kill off all of these boys. By letting the gas off, we can enter our next Chimera boss fight.
Holy shit.
That is a big boy.
Against another Demolisher enemy called the Behemoth, which again is man, we already fought one of these things, didn't we? I really hope the game doesn't make us keep fighting the Demolisher type boss. It's going to. But after beating it, of course, we extract the GSB and take a good hit of it. And with the other sample in hand, we head back to give it to our wife.
Olivia.
Kyle, are you okay?
I'm nowhere close to being okay, but hey, I'm here.
And I made some progress on my research. Listen to this. The Chimera's genetic code contains duplicate fragments of your DNA.
What?
My theory is the Baron was hoping to enhance those creatures with your abilities.
Why? And what's up with the gas he's using to attract him? What's that all about?
I don't know. We need to learn more. And we need more samples.
Yeah, no. I'm done injecting myself with that shit.
You're not strong enough yet.
Look, I'm feeling better than I was. And I'd rather just leave well enough alone.
Well enough might not be good enough.
Olivia, right now, what I need is intel on the Baron. I'll check at the town hall to see if they found anything useful. I'll reach out when I know more.
Okay. I'm here if you need me.
So the Baron was using Crane to try and enhance his creatures, his creations, trying to make a superior subject to Crane from his DNA. But because we're able to kill them all, it's very clear his work is not, successful. And now we head out to meet up at the mine with the sheriff to attack one of the Baron's locations.
What's the situation?
When I first got here, I saw red smoke coming out of the mine. More and more squads keep going inside. I think they're hunting something in there.
And you saw the Baron?
Yeah, he went in with them.
I'm waiting a long time for this.
What do you mean?
I got a score to settle with that bastard. Can you cover me?
I can cover you until you enter the mine. After that, you're on your own.
Fair enough.
So the Baron is hunting inside the mine for the beast. So we got to do some Metal Gear Solid stealth and infiltrate the mine, killing all the guards in the area, and then once entering the mine, this is a really cool area and a really cool mission. It's just moody and just a fun romp to run through and kill everything. This is definitely where Dying Light shines the most, with these sort of linear missions that just have so much atmosphere to them and just sort of elevate the horror of the game, because there is definitely some horror. You look down this sort of cavern tunnel and there's just hundreds of zombies down the other side of it, and you're just thinking, wow, I'm glad I didn't run down that way without turning my flashlight on. But actually investigating the area, we make a rather large discovery, a very large box. What's in the box? Well, the Baron is going to give us that answer.
Sheriff, I'm in the main hall. I've seen a shit ton of his troops, but no sign of the Baron. Sheriff, you copy?
Yep. And I'm sorry, Kyle, but I need to protect my people.
Fuck.
And of course, the sheriff has betrayed us.
Kyle. I have to admire your fortitude. You just don't give up. I hope you enjoyed your brief taste of freedom. Let's call it a field test, shall we?
Are you gonna tell me why you turned me into a lab rat? Why you tortured me for all those years?
I'm building the future, Kyle. But your role in that grand experiment has come to an end.
Fucking lunatic.
True genius is often mistaken for insanity by those of inferior intelligence.
So now you found someone new to torture.
He is the perfect subject, Kyle. He is the future, and you, I'm afraid, are the past.
Future, huh? What needs your future?
But Crane is one to never give up very easily, and he causes the most amount of chaos in the shortest amount of time and unleashes the beast on the Baron.
Hold your fire, idiots! I need him alive!
The Baron makes it very clear that he does not want the beast killed, but using a grenade launcher indoors, he causes a cave-in, potentially almost killing himself, and we have to find a way out, with the beast being unleashed and escaping. But with Crane also escaping, he contacts the sheriff.
Sheriff, do you copy? Do you hear me?
Oh my god. You're alive.
Yeah, and I'm coming for you.
I'm sorry, Kyle, but I had no choice. It was either that or...
Well, it appears that Crane is very just not happy with the sheriff, and now starts running like a madman straight back to the town hall to try confront her.
Where is she, Jacob?
Who?
The sheriff.
She came running in, grabbed a bunch of her stuff, and took off like she was on fire. She's not answering her radio. What is going on?
She knew I was coming for her.
What are you talking about?
So you didn't know?
Know what?
She led me into a trap, Jacob. She made a deal with the Baron.
What?
Said she did it to protect her people. The Baron was waiting to ambush me and she was right there with him. So you didn't know?
No!
Well, you're in charge here now, so I'm giving you fair warning. She is going to pay for what she did to me.
The sheriff was our rock. She's the one who kept us together. There has to be a reason.
Forget about her. She is done. You need to run this place on your own now.
Jesus.
And the plan stays the same.
What plan?
The plan to take out the Baron.
I'm no soldier. The sheriff handled security. You know that.
Then I need you to give me whatever you have on him. Whatever intel you guys have gathered.
We don't have anything on him. But I might know some people who do.
Who?
A group of exiles forced out by the sheriff. She never wanted us to speak of them or contact them. But I always kept a connection open. I couldn't just abandon them.
Who are they?
They are the infected ones. Some were fugitives from the Baron's lab that the sheriff wouldn't let in.
Where'd they go?
They banded together to form a community high in the mountains. They are all infected. But they've halted their progression with an infusion made from a rare strain of mushrooms. I never wanted to push them out. But if we wanted the sheriff's protection...
Reach out to them.
I'll make contact and let you know.
Good.
I can't lie, this is written so awkwardly. I don't get why, but Jacob just feels like this character that just has no other purpose than to point us in the direction of the next mission, or to tell us information like, oh, the sheriff never returned, or she came in and took all of her stuff. He feels almost pointless in my eyes, and I will be honest, I do not understand why Crane is so angry at the sheriff. The sheriff was not his friend. They've barely spoken, and for some reason he feels so betrayed by her. But we saw what the sheriff does to the infected. She just shoots her own people or exiles them, so she's not a good person at all. I don't know, I just feel like the writing is very iffy, especially for this group of characters, the town hall characters. It just feels odd. But now Jacob has pointed us in the direction of another group of survivors who could potentially help us with our fight against the Baron. They are the ones that were infected and exiled by the sheriff. Now, something I haven't actually completely touched on yet is the upgrade system in this game and this upgrade tree, and personally, what do I think of it? I'm a bit mixed on it. I think it's definitely good. Like, I like how streamlined it is and how simple it is, but also I think it's a downgrade from the one that we had in Dying Light 1. Dying Light 1 had a really good system in my opinion, where each aspect, as you used them, you upgraded them more. So as you used parkour, you upgraded parkour. As you fought in combat, your combat upgraded. This game just has one central level, and you can choose out of these three trees which one you want. One is sort of fighting, one is parkour, and the other is sort of environmental stuff, so like driving and other bits and bobs. There isn't really any sort of method at all. You know, even me saying there's three different trees is me kind of pulling a fib. They do have perks that just don't make sense being there, but it's not the worst skill system I've ever seen. It's very simple, but I would love to see a more complex one in future games. I would say a lot of the upgrades that we got in Dying Light 1, like things like sliding, tic-tac, all these upgrades that we got from skills are just unlocked from the beginning, which is good, I will be honest. And other upgrades like the grappling hook, they're unlocked other ways, which is fine, but I just wish there was more. It just feels very limited. And I think the problem is now is Dying Light, it's, you know, a 10+ year formula now. They can only make us unlock the same upgrades so often. And I hope with the Beast sort of focusing on kind of what Dead Island had with these ultra super abilities, that the next game will go back to what I think Dead Island sort of had better, which was its upgrade system and role-playing perspective. Dying Light lost all of its role-playing stuff because it only has one central character, which of course is fine if you want to tell a good story, but Techland, you know, more often than not, they don't. Let's be honest, they, you know, Techland has made, what, 5 games? And probably most people would say one of them is good, maybe 2. I do hope for the next Dying Light game they do return to the maybe multiple character setup where we can choose a character that has different upgrade trees and allow us for more replayability on the game, because I genuinely miss that about Dead Island, because I love that about Dead Island where they have so many different characters. You know, Dead Island 1 had the 4 characters that to me are iconic, and you know, their upgrade trees are so unique and different. Dead Island Riptide, John was introduced and he had completely new stuff like a fucking electrified kick. And then obviously Dead Island 2 has a hell of a lot of upgrades and different characters and how they play, and is very RPG-y. Dying Light sort of focused more on action and making its parkour as good as possible, but I think we're at the point now where the parkour is basically perfect, and I don't think they can really improve it in any way that makes it feel sort of revolutionary. I think they need to go back to the RPG side and make some more cooler sort of ideas for characters and upgrades. So that's kind of my hope for the next game, and I understand again, this is a semi-DLC that was spun into a full game, so they obviously can't, you know, go crazy with new abilities, but I hope the next game does, because I think, you know, It's starting to show its age a bit with how simple the upgrade system is, but that is a massive nitpick by me. It's good that all the weapons, blueprints and everything can be upgraded. I like that as well. That should definitely be kept for future games, and I love it because it obviously encourages you to go out and grind more and, you know, go through dark zones constantly. And I just want more character upgrades. I want to be able to upgrade the beast powers in more meaningful ways because a lot of them kind of feel pointless, I will be honest, and a lot of the upgrades that we get also feel kind of pointless at times. Some of them are great, but some of them just feel kind of meh, what's the point? But anyway, let us head to the cave to find these survivors, and along the way we get a communication from one of those infected survivors.
Crane, can you hear me?
What the hell?
Don't be frightened. I'm not your enemy. I'm a telepath. Jacob asked me to reach out.
No. The last time someone talked to me telepathically, it did not go well. Use the damn radio.
The radio isn't safe.
And this is freaky as fuck.
Meet me at Pembroke Farm. I'll explain everything.
Now, at first I thought, oh shit, they're bringing back these sentient volatiles. One of the most interesting things from the following, with even more people becoming infected and becoming these sentient volatiles, which would be such a cool thing to see, an entire community and survivor base that is filled with these sentient volatiles. But spoiler alert, they're not. They're not sentient volatiles, and I think this is a really big missed opportunity. I think you could have really played it into what the story was going into. You still can, because they're still infected, but having them visually be sentient volatiles would be like, oh, they are monsters, but they're not letting that monster take control of them, which I think would be sort of tying into what the Beast is going for with its story. And I think that would be a really cool story to tell, and would, you know, really tie into some great narrative that could be put into the main campaign. But yeah, Techland is completely allergic to making cool side characters that were not in the original game or the DLC. Anyway, we meet this stranger at a location of his choosing, but he is seemingly in a lot of danger, so we need to hurry, but no matter how fast you run or drive, the Baron's men will be there before you and trying to attack him, so we clear them out and we can meet this telepathic stranger.
Thank you, Kyle. My name is Sven. I'm the one who guided you here. As you're infected, we can connect through our shared consciousness.
You know, believe it or not, Sven, you aren't the first telepathic infected I've had in my head.
Interesting. According to Jacob, you have other gifts, too.
Or curses, depending on your point of view.
Jacob said you needed our help.
What can you tell me about the Baron?
Quite a bit. We've been spying on him and his people for years. I'm glad to tell you everything we know, but right now, I must find 2 of my team who are missing.
You can't communicate with them telepathically?
If I could, I wouldn't be so worried about them. But when I reach out, there's nothing.
Think the Baron has them?
I don't know. But I'm sure they're in danger.
Okay. Where were they last seen?
Are you offering to help me find them?
Well, it'll be my good deed for the day.
Last time I heard from them, they were at one of our abandoned bases. A farm west of here. You'll see a big combine harvester there.
Fine. I'll take a look.
And now that we're connected, just call out to me and I'll hear you.
All right. But until I do, stay the hell out of my head.
Now you might have a question about telepathy and why the infected can communicate telepathically with each other. Well, that's because the Dying Light virus takes very heavy inspiration from Larry Nervan's The Protector and the Tree of Life within it. And in the Beast itself, throughout many of the side quests, we can find references to this Tree of Life. And while I'm not an expert on this book at all, and I honestly didn't even realize the game was making references to this book, it's definitely an interesting sort of idea that the virus is almost like one sentient thing that connects all of them together. And I find that really interesting. And it also explains why, like, when you get chased at night, all the volatiles know exactly where you are and why the virals know where you are. It makes it make more sense in a way, if you get what I mean. Yeah, it's fascinating, and the game makes constant references to this book and, you know, to this story, and it's still cool to see that inspiration that was sort of laid out in the first game and the following and everything still be brought up all these years later, which is great to see. But doing the quest for Sven, we can find his missing squad members, but instead of them, we find a map with a location marked on it. So we head over to that marked location, and unfortunately, they have been captured.
This is Echo 7, over.
We caught the freaks who attacked the patrol. Where have you been?
I was taking a dump.
What the fuck? Whatever. Rendezvous at Checkpoint Delta.
Where?
The pig farm. We're taking the prisoners back to the palace.
Copy that.
So now we head on over to the pig farm, which, man, I'm really starting to see a pattern with how these quests play out. We just keep running across the entire map from one end to the other. I've cut out almost all of that, but to let you know, you go to a location, you get told something, they then say go to this location, and then you run fucking like 20 miles across the map, which it does get a bit boring, but fortunately this game is so dynamic with its world and what's going on that you can sort of do a lot of stuff along the way, which does help a lot. But actually getting to the pig farm and infiltrating it, we see quite the sight.
You sure they're not playing possum? Wake up, you infected piece of shit!
Convoy's here. Get him in the truck.
Hands up! Slowly.
And of course, all hell breaks loose. With the men being kidnapped, we kill everyone and then grab a car and start tracking the car that they were in. Eventually, we find the car has crashed and we just take it. But we have to hurry back because, oh no, these infected survivors who are, extending their immunity might turn if they don't get their treatment soon. But actually taking it, we now return to the cave and meet the infected survivors.
Hey, where's Sven?
Take them inside.
And of course, like everyone, we are met with hostility and are being told to leave immediately. But Sven works behind the leader's back, Lydia, and wants us to help another one of the infected survivors, Selby. Selby gives us a job of attaching some transmitters to some radio towers so that we can listen into the Baron's comms. And we are also gifted the grappling hook to make climbing these towers a lot easier. Now, the grappling hook, like the last two games, completely breaks this game in half entirely. Not as much as obviously Dying Light 1 with how broken it was in that game, but how it works with and interacts with the momentum that Dying Light 2 has for its physics, you could really exploit it a lot. I was able to do a lot of stupid things with this by using the swinging from it and just launching myself really far with it. You can go really fast and you can kind of skip entire puzzles if you know how to swing off of it properly. I love it. It is so fun. Please don't change it, Techland, because I said this, but yeah, this grappling hook completely breaks the game in half and makes parkour 10 times more fun. But anyway, eventually climbing up the towers and getting the device in place, we have to find one of the Baron's men's radios so we can obtain a decryption key to decrypt the encrypted chatter. So we go find all their patrols, kill them, grab the radio, and then take it back to Selby. But of course, it isn't that simple. She decrypts it, but is still so weak. The signal is too garbled that she can't understand it. So we need to go around and place a device on all of the towers. So we head out and do that and do this busy work. And this is one of my biggest complaints about the game's missions. There really is not a lot going on, mainly story-wise. Like, in the middle of the game, which is like what we're in now, we're past all the intro and sort of the opening sections. We're not at the end yet. It is just a hell of a lot of busy work. Kind of like the missions at the very beginning of Dying Light 1, which were teaching you how to play the game. Think about the first sort of airdrop mission, but I highlighted that as a sort of highlight of the game because it sort of teaches you everything the game has. We're in the middle of the game now. We've learned everything. We've learned how to parkour, we've learned stealth, we've learned about the knights, we've learned combat, we've learned crafting, inventory like management. We've done everything. Why are we still doing such basic busy work? Why is nothing really happening story-wise within these missions? A lot of our actions that we're doing just don't feel important, and that's because all we fight at the moment are a couple of zombies, and occasionally we fight the Baron's men, who just are these faceless goons that don't have any personality. We don't have any of the cool characters that Rise had. Think of a character like Kareem that Rise had. He had a personality and he was himself sort of an antagonistic figure, or Rise's right-hand man Tahir, who was a boss fight. We don't really have anything like that for the Baron. Everyone we kill is just a nameless, faceless, kitted out military goon. there is nothing super unique about any of them, and I think that kind of works in the game's detriment in a way. Yes, we see the power and the influence of the Baron through these men and how organized they are and how, you know, much space they can control, but I don't know, they kind of just feel so generic, and I hate saying that about any character's sort of army, but these very much just are a worse Rise faction, and even comparing it to Dying Light 2, I think even then this villain army is even worse, because even then Dying Light 2 had interesting characters that were sort of helming each faction. Yes, the main characters in my opinion in Dying Light 2 were very weak, but a lot of the faction leaders were really good in my eyes. But there just isn't anything going on. It's all busy work, it's all, oh, we need to do this, you need to help them, you need to get them on your side. There is nothing going on story-wise, and I think one of the best ways we could have, you know, improved this was just make the Baron more present, have him be on the radio more. One of my favorite like examples of how to do this is think of something like, this is a very big difference, but think of something like Arkham Knight with Scarecrow. You would hear him on the radios throughout the city and you could, you know, realize, oh yeah, we're fighting him. It makes him feel like more of a genuine presence and more of a constant presence, and I think this game really needed that. There is radios and like sort of these PA systems that are scattered about. You can find them on buildings, and I'm surprised they didn't do anything like that, which is a shame to me, and I would have loved to seen that. Also, we have a radio on us all the time. Have us listen into the Baron's chatter so we can hear what he's doing. Have him talk about, you know, what's going on, you know, his track for the beast. Make it feel more urgent. I just feel like there is no urgency in these missions, and I feel like that's such a shame. In comparison to, like, you know, again, I hate doing this, Dying Light 1, the game felt very urgent at all times. When Jade ran off and you tried to find her, when she was captured by Rise and you felt like you needed to save her, when Dr. Zir's base was blown up and was being attacked by Rise's thugs, you felt that urgency. I feel no urgency here at all, because unfortunately, I don't care about any of the characters. If you aren't a Dying Light veteran, you don't know who the beast is. You don't know Spike has been captured. Even I didn't realize Spike had been captured, because I thought, oh, maybe he just, you know, this wasn't actually Spike, because we're never told that. And I think this is one of its biggest weaknesses. We feel no urgency because the Baron isn't a consistent threat. And I think that's the biggest mistake the game makes. Yes, the story is good, don't get me wrong, on paper it reads fine, but in the moment, I genuinely think most of you who will play this will realize this, during the middle of the game, you will feel it drag. You will feel like you're doing nothing and nothing is being achieved. But yeah, I think one of the best ways you could have improved this was just have some maybe mini-boss characters that the Baron could have in his army. Give him some lieutenants that have personality, that are scary. It's crazy that to hear, to me, was a highlight of Dying Light 1 because he was just a new type of enemy and a new character that we had to face. Just add something, that's all I'm saying. And after climbing this super tall tower, which this game makes a big thing about that it's so tall,
I must be out of my mind.
This is nothing compared to the radio tower that Crane climbed in Dying Light 1 to reach the outside world. We place the final transmitter and we can listen in entirely to their conversations.
There. Selby, third transmitter's in place. Are we good?
Give me a second. Yes, it works. We're receiving complete transmissions. We nailed it. I mean, well, you know.
I know. And you're welcome. Make sure to keep me posted on what you hear.
Anything juicy? I promise that you'll be the first to...
Selby?
Hold on. Something's happening. Oh my god.
Selby, what's going on? Selby?
Carl, we just overheard something. Something terrible.
What is it, Sven?
They're planning to blow up something big. The town hall, right in the city center.
Who?
The Baron's men.
Shit. When?
Now. They're doing it now. Planting the charges as we speak.
Shit, I gotta warn Jacob. Tell him to evacuate. Sven, where are these explosives?
Somewhere under the main square. There's a huge subterranean complex under there.
Fuck. Okay, heading there now.
Oh no, our level 5 town hall is going to be destroyed, which of course will give the enemy a 1-star, guaranteeing their victory within the raid. So we need to quickly run back to disable the explosives. And man, I can't lie, I need to mention it now, this game's soundtrack slapped, with this soundtrack here being an absolute highlight to me, because fuck me, it was really good.
Bitch.
This game has the best soundtrack out of all Dying Light games. Man, some of these themes fucking slap, I can't even lie. Every song I heard while playing the game was a bop. I loved it. I love this soundtrack so much. It is probably one of my favorite from this year. And yeah, this is a year where we had Expedition 33. And I like this soundtrack probably more because to me, it is just follows what Dying Light's soundtrack should be, but elevates it and progresses it forward. It's great. Whoever did the soundtrack for this game, get them back for the next game. They did a stellar job. Absolute 10 out of 10 cinema. Also at this point we get the shotgun, and just like the previous games, the shotgun is the best gun in the game. But clearing out the men and the bombs, we tell everyone the town hall didn't fall, so we didn't lose the raid, ensuring that our clan war will be a victory. But now we head out to find Olivia, with her having some information on the next Chimera.
What's wrong with you? Why the hell would you come out here on your own?
I appreciate the concern, but you don't have to worry about me.
But I do. Okay? So please, I've lost enough people. Just don't do it again.
What the fuck is happening? When did Crane start feeling anything for Olivia? Don't blame him, honestly, don't blame him. But Jesus Christ, what is this swinging fucking opinion? Chill out, lad. This is another problem that Techland seem to have not really fixed yet. They don't really understand that you need to develop relationships. And I hate that, you know, they're already sort of planting that seed that this is Crane's next love interest, when it's only being revealed now that Crane, you know, 100% was, yeah, I felt something for Jade. Feels weird. Again, Techland still shows they haven't learned how to develop relationships between characters and how to build them up, because man, this just comes out of nowhere. I thought they were going to do it, but I didn't think they would just sort of, yeah, you know, full swing and a miss with it. But yeah, it's very clear Crane feels something towards Olivia now. Anyway, we have another Chimera that we have to kill, so we head off to these ruins, which are a rip-off Stonehenge, and we discover another one of those machines, and with some nearby gas canisters, we can attract our next Chimera boss fight, the Toxin, which is the spitter, and I really like this boss fight. It's good fun, it's probably the most unique boss fight, and it's one of the only ones that isn't repeated twice. But also it's interesting because the Toxin tries to keep its distance from you, running away, throwing its bombs at you, and as you get close, hit it a few times, it runs off. It's a change in how the fight goes, and it isn't just an enemy constantly charging at you, you dodging, you hitting, you dodging, you hitting, over and over again. You have to pursue the fight, which I really like. Killing the Toxin and quickly absorbing its power, we give Olivia the next sample, and Kyle does a little more bitching.
You're getting the hang of this. A sample for you, and one for me.
Easy for you to say. I'm the one doing all the work.
Not all the work. I'm going to analyze the sample and see what it tells us. See you soon.
See ya.
Yeah, man, Kyle was something wrong with him, I don't know. But guess what? The infected survivors have some more information that we might want. So Lydia now wants to be more of an offensive front to the Baron, because she probably realizes that the Baron is going to kill them if they don't do anything. So she wants to take the initiative and gives us the information about the school where the Baron is doing a lot of research. So we head over to the school to try collect the Baron's research to figure out what he's doing and then bring it back. Now we make our way over to school and we meet a new character called Ray. I really hope Ray is not going to be a character that is introduced just to die. Now the school itself is a really good level. I love it that Techland, you know, for 2 of their games, the school levels are like the highlight mission of the entire game, and this is genuinely one of the best missions in the game, in my opinion. We sneak our way through the school and we will find ourselves a scientist who is there being forced to work against his will.
Shoot, I'm unarmed.
Who are you? You don't look like a bandit.
No, I am a scientist.
You work for the Baron?
Yes. Did the Baron send you? Are you here to help?
No, I'm here to find out what the hell you people are up to. What's your name, scientist?
Camilo. Dr. Camilo Marin. I was using the restroom when those savages stormed in. As soon as I heard gunfire, I hid.
Oh, so the Baron hires cowards?
Yes, but look, just tell me what you want. I'll do anything, just don't...
Shut up. Hey, Ray, you there?
I'm here. We leaving?
Not yet. I haven't found any research, but I have something better. One of the Baron's scientists, alive.
A scientist? Great. Let's take him back. Maybe Lydia can make him talk.
Okay, I'm bringing him out.
Sure thing.
So, you don't work for the Baron?
You catch on quick. Start talking.
Okay, I can give you the key to the main archive if you promise not to hurt me.
Help me, and I have no reason to hurt you, Camilo. Now then, what's the easiest way out of this building?
Through the gym. But there's probably guys with guns there. The other way out is through the basement, but...
Let me guess. It's full of infected.
Yes, so there is no easy way.
Okay, I'm gonna clear the basement, stay on the radio, and wait for my signal. You try to escape, I kill you myself.
This scientist is of utmost importance, and he might have some answers about the Baron and the Chimeras and what the beast actually is. So we are going to take him back with us, but first we of course need to clear a path so we can get out safely. So we go into the sewer system, basement, clear out the path, and then we have Ray pick up the scientist to take him back to the cave. I sure hope this side character that was introduced just for this mission doesn't die on the road while taking the scientist back just to pad this game out. Couldn't happen. Surely not. It can't be that predictable. Anyway, we now head back into the school with the key given to us by the scientist, as we need to find the main research from the archive, and we get to engage in America's favourite pastime. I'll let that one marinate for you. But after doing all of that, we collect the research and we fight our way out of the school as raiders come in to attack the Baron's men. Now the raiders are a new faction. I honestly didn't realize for most of the game. The raiders are an entirely separate faction, but I think they're exactly the same to the Baron's men. They have the exact same enemy types, but I think they have one different one with a fire-spitting enemy, which is unique, but they just feel so just generic. And I think the problem is they're just dressed so plainly, and I think that kind of just makes them forgettable, honestly. But yeah, after collecting the research, we can take it back to Lydia.
Lydia?
Kyle, find anything interesting?
Yeah, a lot of research data thanks to that scientist. Have you talked to him yet?
What scientist?
The one I sent with Ray.
Ray's not with you.
Shit. I found one of the Baron's scientists at the school and convinced him to cooperate. I sent him back with Ray.
Let me see if I can reach out to him. Come on, Ray. Respond. I can't reach him. Something must have happened. Kyle, please find them.
Okay, yeah, let me try and retrace the route and see if I can find out what happened.
What a fucking surprise. Ray has gone completely missing, so we need to head out and find Ray. And guess what? We find Ray, and he's dead. Man, I swear I wish games wouldn't just introduce a character just to kill him off. But the scientist, Camilo, has vanished, so we need to go find him. Tracking him to a nearby building, we can save him from the infected, and a few seconds later, Lydia appears and takes him back to the cave. I really do not think this mission was necessary, but Lydia here now tells us that she will help us in our fight against the Baron, and she gifts us a new weapon, the revolver. I think it's a single action army, and this is one of the best weapons in the game as well. It's way better for long range kills as well, so if you use the shotgun and the revolver, you've got two of the best guns in the game. But now we inform Olivia about everything that has been happening, and after a short while with me doing some side stuff, Olivia again has another Chimera for us, and us needing our next fix of the GSB, we dart straight over there. With her taking us to the cement plant, we hunt down our next Chimera, which is again just the Banshee boss again, but this time it's in the dark, which I was kind of disappointed by this boss fight, but the darkness does add a layer to the fight, with the matriarch here running away, then just screaming, which attracts virals, so you have to use this cool audio thingamabob to track it. But of course, we eventually kill it, take its blood, take the hit, and we head straight back to our wife to give her our blood.
Olivia, I'm back.
Hey, Kyle. You've got to see this. You won't believe what I found.
What?
I've been combing through historical data, and it looks like the military used gas against the infected before. One was called Blue Mist, and it worked like a sedative.
I think I remember that from back in Haran. There was this cult there that the infected wouldn't attack, and turned out they were using some kind of military-grade gas.
The Baron has since made some advancements. He developed a red gas that provokes unbridled fury.
Like waving a red cape in front of a bull.
Exactly. That's how you lured that Chimera from the forest to the scrapyard.
Well, if the Baron can trigger that kind of blind rage and point him at whoever's pissing him off, that could make for a pretty effective weapon.
There's something else.
What's wrong?
I discovered the identity of the scientist who did that initial research. It was my father.
What?
He was in Haran, right at the start of the outbreak.
Yeah, so was I.
I know. You're kind of famous.
Where's your dad now? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to...
He's with the Baron.
So he works for him?
Not voluntarily. Slave labor. Same as me. He brought me with him when Haran fell.
I lost a lot of good people I cared about there. So many good people. When you said you wanted me to get you out of here, were you talking about your father, too?
I was hoping. But to do that...
We have to kill the Baron. Let's just hope Camilo comes through with something we can use to take that bastard down.
Let's hope so. Good luck, Kyle. I'll let you know if I find anything else.
Dan, the gas is legit just the blue gas, but modified. So instead of pacifying the zombies, it makes them angry. Kind of cool, can't lie. At least it uses something from the previous games. It makes sort of the overall sort of narrative a bit different, but it also might tie into a potential narrative point. If you want to know, the gas was potentially dropped by the GRE. We found the gas at one point in the following was in a drop, but it was broken. The drops were given by the GRE. So is this gas potentially being developed by the GRE and another sort of side thing? You know, the Baron was partnered with the GRE at some point, but is he still partnered with the GRE? Is the GRE still a thing? Because most people would probably have assumed the GRE is completely fallen. But Olivia also kind of makes the big reveal here that her father was the one who did the original research on the gas itself for the Baron, as they were in Haran when that outbreak happened. Again, revealing that Olivia is from Haran. And she also reveals that they were both taken and forced into slave labor by the Baron, which, yes, she was, because in a side mission we can find another one of the Baron's scientists who has a tattoo on their hand. This tattoo marks the scientist as the Baron's scientist, so they can never escape him. Olivia has this tattoo. What I like about this bit is it actually does give some character development to Olivia. It does show sort of these two characters growing closer together, and it does show that Techland is learning somewhat. They're still not good at it, but they are learning that they do need to develop relationships and have characters actually talk to one another and reveal stuff to each other to build these sort of relationships and make them make sense. But now we head back to Camilo and talk to him about what he knows about the Baron himself and what he is up to.
Kyle, Dr. Camilo's research is even more promising than we thought. With the proper infusions, he believes we can enhance our telepathic abilities to not just communicate, but to control. Camilo, perhaps you should explain.
Yes, sure. I'll try. It's a little complicated. As you know, Lydia and her people have unique abilities.
Right, like telepathy.
Not just telepathy. It's much more, or at least it could be. It goes beyond simple communication. With the proper enhancements, Lydia could connect directly with the mind of a non-sentient infected and activate specific areas of the brain.
And why would she want to do that?
Your average biter operates strictly on instinct, driven by hunger. Imagine if you could redirect that hunger towards prey of your own choosing.
You're talking about controlling the infected?
Yes. I believe it's very possible. The Baron has no idea of the strides I've made. With Lydia and her people, I have the perfect opportunity to prove my theory.
You could create an undead army.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but yes, the possibilities are endless. However, we need your help.
My help? You know I got a D in high school chemistry.
I need certain rare substances to create the proper infusion. But they are located in a very dangerous area.
Okay. How dangerous?
In a volatile nest.
Wow. Okay. You know, dealing with volatiles is no walk in the park, right?
I know. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't critical, Kyle. But it's your call.
Well, what do you need?
We need a sample of volatile plasma. Preferably from its larva.
Okay, that's crazy. But, well, if that's what you need, fine. I'll get that sample for you.
3.
What? What?
I'm not sure every sample will contain the correct protein. So, just to be sure, We are going to need 3, each from a different creature.
You got any more levels of difficulty, Doc? Like, should I do it blindfolded? How about backwards?
Forwards is fine.
All right, I'll get your damn samples. I assume you have some particular nest in mind?
Yes, I can point you to one.
Well, Camilo here believes that he could expand Lydia's ability to the point that she herself could control the infective. And Crane, the biggest idiot in the room, asks these stupid, obvious questions just in case the player isn't listening.
And why would she want to do that?
I honestly don't get the writing at all. He should know immediately, oh, if Lydia can control the zombies, we can control the zombies. They'd be on our side. We can use that against the Baron. I don't understand why he would ask, why would we want that? Again, Crane is, not a big dumb muscle man. He is an intelligent character. We know this. But for some reason, the writers just wanted to present him as the biggest idiot in my eyes for some reason. He seems to do this more often than he is smart, which I think is a big shame. Anyway, Camilo needs a couple of items to make this treatment that will give her these abilities. First of all, we need a sample from a volatile nest, the larva more specifically, to get a specific protein, and something else later which is located within the mental asylum. So first we head out to the volatile hive, and to reach it we have to kill our next Chimera, the Wraith. Which is just a volatile, but it can turn invisible. Honestly, this fight is really hard, but word to the wise, make sure you use your UV lights as much as possible. I found that the grenade launcher, which you can learn to craft in your upgrade tree with UV grenades, is extremely useful. Because if you just shoot it at the floor, once the Wraith comes in to attack you, it will be revealed to you, allowing you to just fight it. This made the fight a hell of a lot easier, and it did allow me to beat the boss eventually. Great boss fight, probably, maybe, my favourite boss fight of the entire game, because it feels very well balanced in my eyes. After beating it, of course, we inject its blood, and grab a sample for Olivia, and then we move along to grab those samples that Camilo requested. And man, the volatile nests are amazing. They are just pure tension, pure sort of body horror, just sort of that disgusting fleshiness to them. And of course, after, going through all that tenseness and all that build-up that, oh, are we going to be spotted, we ended with a chase sequence. But something that I noticed about this chase sequence is that they put you in a lot of straights where you can't really do any parkour to speed yourself up, like swings or use the grappling hook to pull yourself along. This means that you get hit by the volatiles.
I can't run any faster.
Because the volatiles will catch up to you if you just run straight. And it means that sometimes during these chase sequences, I would die and there would be nothing I could do to prevent it, because the volatiles are just faster. But using all the movement tech that you have to jump off of walls, swinging yourself, you should be able to escape them and cause a cave-in, sealing the nest entirely. We then radio in that we collected the desired samples and head back to Lydia. And while we wait for Lydia and Camilo to finish their research and tests, we can do some busy work, and after a while, our wife again will call us telling us to come home. I'm joking, another Chimera has been tracked, so we head back to Olivia. Of course, another Chimera, and this is just a repeat of the very first boss we fought, the Charger one. Kinda disappointing, I can't lie, after the amazing boss fight that was the Volatile, and honestly, I think it's kind of pointless. The Volatile should have been the final one, I think, and the multiple times that bosses are repeated, it just acts as a form of padding in my eyes, and honestly, it's about to get a lot worse, the boss fights, I can't even lie. But after doing that, and of course getting it, this is our final upgrade that we need, and we get all of the upgrades for the beast tree. So there is no more chimeras that we actually have to fight to get upgrades. Anyway, we now meet up with the gang outside the mental asylum.
Good, you're here. I've had my first infusion and feel stronger already.
Please take it easy. We need to do this incrementally. But if this works, additional infusions could potentially increase your power exponentially.
See that building? It's an old psychiatric hospital, one of the few that hasn't been looted yet.
And you're showing me this because...
For Lydia to reach her full potential, she needs a drug that's kept in that hospital's medical storage room.
And you want me to go get this drug?
We have no one else who can pull this off. No one else with your skill set.
Seriously? I just got back from a volatile nest, and now you want to send me on another suicide mission?
Relax. If Lydia's abilities work, you'll be fine.
If they work?
I'll be with you every step of the way.
Wait, you're coming with me?
Not physically. Telepathically. Lydia has developed the ability to influence the minds of the infected.
Seriously?
We've completed a few very promising tests, but I think we're ready for the next big step.
You're ready. This is all great in theory, but can we really trust this?
That's why we're here. This is just the beginning, Kyle. That's why we need you to find that drug. For now, our influence may be somewhat limited. So please, try not to bump into one.
Oh, right, great. Thanks for the heads up.
It's gonna require a lot of concentration, and it's rather exhausting. So Camilo will be on the radio, and I'll focus on the infected.
All right. Kyle, are you ready?
Nope, not at all, but... fuck it, let's give it a shot.
So we now need to retrieve a drug from the mental hospital while Lydia uses her powers to keep us hidden from the infected.
Shit. Okay, they're not attacking. Looks like it's working.
Don't get too close to them, though. They might still snap out of it.
Yeah, could have told me that earlier, Doc, but good to know. I'll keep my distance.
Now here we can find a lot of cool notes about the people that we have met throughout the game, about their mental problems that they had, like Sven here having severe paranoia. And while this level is really cool and like the best horror part of the game, from just how tense it is, you are just walking around looking for some drugs and it takes quite a while, and the zombies, I couldn't get them to, you know, attack me accidentally as I was playing. I would literally walk right up to them and then walk away from them and nothing would happen. The only time I got them to attack me was when I killed a zombie and then they all started attacking me. But yeah, it's pretty simple. You just walk around doing some puzzles, finding some fobs to get into certain areas, and eventually you retrieve the drug. Of course, that then sounds the alarm, and it ends with a big chase sequence. I tried to end it really cool by jumping into the river. Yes, this game did not want me to have any cool moments that I could use in the video, because of course I missed the river and died. Yes, as well, also in this chase, I had the fun no night glitch while playing. That's why the sun is still up and the volatiles are chasing me outside. But with the drug in hand, we can now head to the group to give them the drug.
Thank God, Kyle. You made it.
Just barely, but yeah, that was fucking close. Are you okay? What happened?
I'm sorry. The alarm distracted the infected and severed my influence over them.
You have the neuro rays?
Yeah, here.
Thank you. If it works how I hope it will, it'll help Lydia to maintain a stronger connection and exert complete control over them.
In other words, it'll turn them into meat puppets.
We're under attack! I repeat, Town Hall is under attack!
But hey ho, guess what? The town hall is under attack again from the clan war, with the Baron's clan attacking it. So we make our way there, and reaching there we find a hell of a lot of the Baron's men. Clearing them out, they start shooting gas grenades in from mortar teams. These gas grenades of course contain the red gas, so we need to climb up the buildings, kill the mortar teams, destroy the mortars, and then collect all the gas grenades to stop these zombies from coming towards us. But guess what? The sheriff comes back saying that she needs to save her people. I really do not like this character, I will be honest. But other than that, this entire engagement is actually quite fun. From you going from the streets fighting all the men to then climbing up to the rooftops to attack the mortar teams, destroy the mortars. It is just really fun because it engages you with all different kinds of the gameplay, obviously parkour, you know, collecting items, you know, managing everything, and just combat in general. It is just really fun as it allows you to fight basically every enemy there is in the game. And of course, it ends with a boss fight with a Chimera, more specifically the Demolisher type of enemy. Now, something I noticed is that this boss dies really easily. Again, I was still on Brutal and this thing was dying quick.
I'm definitely on hard, aren't I? Yeah, I am.
And that's because once you defeat it, the game does something that I hate. Now, what do you think this is? A, the game continues the story. B, gives us a new type of boss to fight. C, we have another objective to deal with. Or D, the worst possible thing.
Kyle! Behind you!
What the fuck?
D. If you guessed D, you would be correct. Instead of fighting one Chimera and then just ending it, we now have to fight 2 at once, meaning we have to fight 3 Chimera Demolisher types in a row. It's not like, oh, there was one, you know, of the Charger ones and one of the Toxin ones. No, it is 3 of the Demolisher ones back to back, which, man, this is terrible. Yes, if you get one of the Chimeras low enough, Lydia will take control of one of them and it fights for you. When it does this, it just doesn't hit the other Chimera enough to make it feel like it makes that big of a difference in the fight. Honestly, I just hate it. It's so fucking boring, and I hate it when games make you fight 2 bosses at the same time, which were once one single boss, because the game is not designed around this. Elden Ring did this as well with, you know, the gargoyle bosses. The gargoyles were not designed to be together and fighting at the same time, so a lot of the time you'll just be hit once and you'll die because you can't recover because the other one will hit you. It's lazy, and to me it is just bad game design because, again, they're not designed around this sort of gameplay. There is not meant to be 2 of these on the field at once because the game just sort of becomes this insane with you constantly dodging, and the stamina management is almost impossible. You have to basically be perfect on brutal to win this fight. I'm sure on easier difficulties this is a complete cakewalk and you can just completely wipe the floor with them, but man, this really did start to annoy me, I will be honest, and it takes a lot to annoy me with games, and this is one of the things that any game can do and it will annoy me. But honestly as well, I think the amount of these boss fights that there are, they're just pretty bad. I know that they're the freak of nature boss fights from the following, but man, making them mandatory for game progression in my opinion and repeating these boss fights multiple times, it just made the game drag and it made me start to dislike the boss fights a lot. To me, the Chimera boss fights were the highlight, but now they're starting to become a massive detriment to me. I think honestly, the game should have removed basically every boss fight that wasn't repeated. So the second Demolisher, the Behemoth fight, I think should have been removed, and the defect in Behemoth should have been just one boss fight. The Banshee one, so the Mist and the Matriarch, should have been one boss fight, and the 2 Charger ones, the Reaper and the final one, whatever it was called, should have been one boss fight. I really don't think we needed multiple of these, and if there was multiple of them, put them in the open world, make them a side activity. I don't think they needed to be in the main story because it just makes the main story so bloated and feels so long, especially on the harder difficulties where these boss fights do take a while to get through because you will just die. You will get hit once and that'll be it. You'll be dead because the enemies will just 100 to 0 you in one go. But also, I think the game just does not have enough zombie types to pull from. I'm just realizing now at this point that there was never a goon. There was never a goon boss zombie in this game. But I swear to God, this game needs its version of the floater. It needs another fast zombie like the Butcher. It needs more zombie and enemy types to pull from to make these bosses for this game, because repeating them so often I think just pulls the game down more and is more of a detriment than I think they realized. Fuck man, just bring back the Night Hunter. I'm so surprised this game still has not brought back the Night Hunter, because that is just such a cool enemy they could very easily bring back. I'm honestly begging at this point, just give us something new. Anyway, eventually beating the 2 Chimeras, guess what happens next? No, we don't have to fight 3 of them, I'm only joking. One of them just walks off and Kyle gets very angry at the sheriff.
You got a lot of fucking nerve showing your face to me.
You have every right to be angry.
No,
just kill her.
Just listen to me.
What could you possibly say to justify what you
I
did
had
to me?
to do it.
After you got the power plant.
I'm so surprised anyone at the town hall is still alive with her leading them. Honestly, I haven't been this annoyed by a character since my Dead Space 3 video. Just the way Techland writes certain characters just annoys me like anything, because they want you to like them. It's very clear they want you to like the sheriff, but there's nothing redeeming about her character. She barely has a character at all, and what she has done to Kyle is just something that we shouldn't like her for, and I don't get why they try to push her as a likable character and why Kyle accepts having her back. If someone betrays you once, they're going to betray you again, and I'm so surprised that Techland just sort of leave this narrative point just under the rug and move on from it. It's very clear that they needed things to happen to make the story that they wanted to happen and the events that they wanted to happen. They wanted Crane to be ambushed by the Baron, so how can we make that happen? Oh, the sheriff betrays us, but we want to have the sheriff back on Crane's side at the end, so we have this weird moment where she betrays him but then goes back to his side. It just makes no sense, I will be honest. It's very lazy. It is just lazy writing in my eyes. But yeah, I'm surprised anyone at the town hall is still alive. But with Lydia arriving and Kyle doing his trademark state the obvious in case we, the audience, don't understand what's going on, Crane now gets the 2 communities together and wants to assault the palace with the Baron within it. And Kyle believes that if they catch the beast, they can lure the Baron out. So Lydia uses her telepaths to try find the beast's location. Anyway, now we head to the EMF plant to basically fulfill this plan. This plant was where we were earlier, so we retrieved 2 canisters of the red gas, and with this we lay them into a truck and set them off at a specific starting location. This then creates a trail that the beast will then begin to follow back to the cave, and luckily it works first time.
I see him now too.
We guide the beast into the cave, trapping him inside, with us entering the next boss fight with the beast, and this is actually a really good boss fight. But it's honestly a little bit annoying due to how it's structured, with you having to wait, then fight, then wait, then fight, because Lydia wants to try take control of the beast entirely. She never does, like, take control at all during the fight. You eventually just have to fight the beast completely, knocking him out. But Crane does what he does best. He gets a little bit angry and hits the beast so hard that Lydia believes that we killed him in one hit.
Is that enough?
You idiot! You killed him!
No. He's just taking a little nap.
But Crane, obviously being the pro fighter that he is, he knows he didn't hit him hard enough to kill him. With Crane giving the beast some blood after knocking him out, it stabilizes the beast and they take him back to the cave, and goddamn, whoever this is, Aiden Caldwell, is extremely ripped as fuck at this point, because goddamn, he is built like a brick shithouse. Anyway, now we get level checked again for level 13, so for about an hour or two I did side stuff to level up. So I'm just going to skip over all of this because I've already commented on side stuff with me hitting level 13, and we can now join the rest of the gang as they wake up the beast himself, as we, Crane, are the only one physically able to restrain him if he decides that he wants to go beast mode on us. And this as well is the final mission entirely. The game tells us this now. So this is it.
He's sleeping like a baby, though I'm about to wake him up. Stay sharp. He might not be in the best mood. Time to wake up. Can you hear me? Give me a sign if you can.
Who are you? Where am I?
My name is Lydia. You've been lost inside yourself for a very long time, but I managed to find you and bring you back. Can you tell us who you are? How you got here?
I'm Aiden. My friend Spike and I were trying to rescue someone from the Baron, but it all went to shit.
Yes, it is Aiden Caldwell. He was with Spike and got captured when trying to save Crane. He was Subject Beta, the Beast. Now honestly, I like how this game presents Aiden. A big complaint that I had with Aiden entirely in Dying Light 2 is that he felt like they were trying to make him a replacement for Crane, but here they make him a very different character. Crane is cool, collected, he understands, to think before he acts most of the time. That's Crane's character. He is smart, he is a Green Beret, he is, the best of the best at what he does. But Aiden he was a child that was experimented on. He's jumpy, he's frightened, he's quick to act. And it makes a lot of sense from his character perspective and how he acts in Dying Light 2, with how much he moaned and how his memories were so clouded and how he just didn't understand what was going on within that game. And I honestly liked Aiden a lot more in this game, and he felt so much more unique as a character to me in the very short amount of time that we got to spend with him in this game. But also, if anyone is confused, here you get the opportunity to ask Aiden about his relationship with Spike, and it allows anyone who didn't play Dying Light 2 to not only understand what the Pilgrims are, what Spike and Aiden's relationship is, and also what Aiden is. Like, why does he have this power? He was a genetic experiment who was created by someone else, which I won't spoil Dying Light 2 at all, but that's kind of the big reveal of the game, that he was experimented on by someone. And just like Crane, he is kind of a half-human, half-infected person. But as we're having this nice sort of get-together chat with everyone, the Baron calls the group.
And I do.
Ah, Crane. You have something that belongs to me. I want it back. And if you don't comply, everyone you care about will die.
Let me go! Bastard!
Olivia, if you hurt her, you motherfucker...
Spare me the threats, Crane. I have all the leverage here. I have Olivia, and I have an old friend of yours.
Spike?
Tough customer. We tried to make him talk, but he hardly said a word. Did a lot of screaming, though. Bring the beast to my palace. If you don't, I'll turn your friends into mindless abominations.
Jesus. How about easing up on that evil mastermind routine?
You have until noon.
What now?
Make the trade. I owe Spike my life 10 times over. No, you know that asshole can't be trusted, right? He's not letting any of us walk away from this. We at least have to try.
So now the group has to come up with a plan, with Kyle and Aiden going to bed to get some rest before the big assault. But guess what? Aiden has run away to make the trade himself, giving himself over, believing that the Baron will let go of Spike for him. So now Aiden has now made the one-sided playing field quite even, with the Baron of course not letting Spike and Olivia go, and now having the Beast under lock and key, so he can't even use two extremely powerful infected individuals against him. Honestly, this makes entirely sense from a character standpoint. Aiden wasn't always, let's say, the smartest person. He would always act very quickly before he understood what could happen. He would act off his emotions, and it makes sense. And it obviously is a good way to write him out of the story, so we don't get the question of why don't these two very powerful individuals just go complete beast mode on the Baron's men and just rip through everything. But the group still decide to go forth with their plan. Now the final mission is okay. It's kind of, I will be honest, a bit long, but it has a good start. You have this really cool infiltration section with sort of this stealth that allows you to sort of approach it however you want, but if you eventually go loud, it just turns into all-out warfare, which is fun. However, at one point, there is this really goofy moment where you open the gates for your army to come through the gates to assault the palace. Your army consists of the 3 characters that are named and 6 other nameless goons who die immediately. There is 4 people assaulting the Baron's palace. I don't get this. Well, actually there's 3, because guess who else dies? One of the named characters. Is it one of the women? No, it's the male character. It's Sven. Of course it is. Sven, a character we barely know, gets killed immediately, and I felt nothing. Sven was actually one of the characters I kind of liked, and I thought he could have been a very cool character to build up a bit more, but it's very clear that they don't want to, so they just killed him off. But with the group slowly getting overwhelmed, we split off to hunt the Baron, leaving the sheriff and Lydia to fight 2 chimeras. And entering the palace, we see the Baron heading inside the elevator, aura farming. I genuinely cannot take this seriously, because it's like he waited for Crane to enter the front door so he could enter the elevator. Anyway, a lot of shooting later and a driving sequence through a tunnel under the palace. We enter the lab which we started the game in, and guess what? The Baron has some words for us.
Crane, you are as persistent as you are irritating. The fact that you've made it this far proves that my research is indeed yielding results.
Yo, these results are here to send you straight to hell!
You should be thanking me, not hunting me. All that pain and suffering I put you through turned you into something extra.
Yep, we get to fight even more chimeras. Not just 1 or 2, but 3 at once. Man, can we really stop doing this? Eventually, doing enough damage, Lydia will take control of all 3 of the chimeras and we can continue hunting down the Baron. But instead, we find Aiden strapped down, and Crane, being the big meathead he is, he walks straight into a trap. And now I'm going to let this cutscene play out in its entirety and just have my reaction play in the background for you. So please enjoy this.
Olivia. What the fuck is this?
They gassed us. Caught us. All of us.
Spike.
Sorry, buddy. Counterbots are coming to the rescue thing.
How is that fucker always one step ahead of us?
Ah, you're all awake. Good.
Olivia, what did you do?
Crane, please don't be so tiresome. I invited you all here to help me celebrate. As you all played a part in bringing my life's work to completion. Crane here was one of the first human volatile hybrids ever captured. I spent years researching every aspect of his mutated DNA, but the final tests could only be conducted in the wild. So I allowed you to escape.
Bullshit.
You were growing weaker and weaker, slipping away. You had lost your will to live. I needed to reignite your survival instinct. Otherwise, you would soon be dead. So I found the greatest motivation of all for you. Revenge.
Bullshit!
You were injecting yourself with GSB to defeat me. But in truth, you were just a lab rat performing my experiments for me. And Olivia, though reluctant, played her part perfectly. That said, I now have all the data I need. I have mutant infected far stronger than anything ever seen before. And what's more, I can control them. And with you and your friend Aiden, I have human DNA that can resist the most virulent of infections. And now, it's time to celebrate what I've accomplished.
Can I ask this? What has he actually accomplished? Like, he's just made mutated something which already existed. The Demolisher already existed. Spitter, or the Bode existed.
Oh.
Don't kill Spike.
Each one of you contributed in your own way. Spike, you came to rescue Crane, but instead brought me an even more resistant specimen. A hybrid who provided the breakthrough I've long been searching for. But now that I have what I need, I no longer need you.
Why? You are a fucking dead man!
Again with the empty threats. Please. It's pathetic. Dr. Morin, I thought we were colleagues working together to create a glorious future. Instead, for no reason whatsoever, you turned.
You're a monster.
Where was I?
I actually can't believe they
Dr.
killed
Moran,
Spike.
right. Your turn is coming, Crane. But first, you will witness the end of everyone who you care about. Of course, it's nothing new to you, is it? No one who befriends you lasts very long. Wake up, Lydia. Wake up! That's better. I want to feel your fear and see the life leave your eyes.
No, stop, please. Please don't do this.
They brought this on themselves, Olivia.
You don't have to do this.
Oh my god.
This is what happens to those who cross me.
Please.
You need to get your mind right, Olivia. You need to prove to me that I can trust you. Put Mr. Crane out of his misery. Put him down, like you would any wounded animal.
Kyle, I'm sorry. My father was bitten and the Baron refused to help him unless I did what he said.
Just shoot him, you
I had no choice.
But you did have a choice, and you just made the wrong one.
I don't think so.
Olivia, did you really think you could kill me? How disappointing. I'll be honest, I saw a real future for us. But now, you no longer have a future.
Kyle, I'm so sorry. I was always on your side, but I had to hide it until now.
It's okay. I'm just glad you picked the right side.
No, can we pause? Can we pause?
That motherfucker is mine! Kill them all! I'm going after him! Free the others!
Oh boy, I really, and I mean really, did not fucking like this entire scene. To me, the Baron, while starts off very strong, has not had a good presence throughout the game. He has been completely absent, and he's just a mustache twirling villain. I don't mind that. You can have that kind of villain. He can just be mustache twirling, but I think we needed to build him up more as a character and reveal more of his backstory to explain why he's become the way he is. And killing off Spike and Camilo, which, first of all, the scientist's death I felt nothing towards, but Spike. Why did I hate Spike's death so much? I hate the fact that Spike was brought back just to be killed off. His only purpose in the story here is to die. He's meant to die here to have some sort of story-changing moment for both Crane and Aiden. But the problem I have is that Olivia here doesn't say anything until two of the characters are killed off, and then says that she was always on our side. I think she would have done anything in her power to stop Spike from being killed, but it's clear that Techland wanted Spike to die. They wanted us to have this big sort of oh no moment, and I hate it. I don't like it. Spike was the only other character I think people honestly wanted to learn more about and somewhat cared about from Dying Light 1 that was still alive. The other was Brecken, who people still think is still alive, and I really hoped that they would have allowed Crane and Spike to have moments in this game, to build on that relationship. I know Techland hasn't shown us the build-up of that friendship, but show us that friendship. Show us that brotherly friendship that apparently these two have, because we still haven't seen it. We still haven't. We have these passing mentions that they're brotherly friends, but honestly, are they? We've never seen it. Now, I kept saying during the cutscene, don't kill Spike, because to me, Techland had the opportunity to finally fix the biggest mistake they made with the first game. Give Kyle a relationship, build it up with a character, have a character there that allows him to dive into the past, allows him to reminisce what happened back in Haran, actually add character depth and a relationship that is deep. But no, it's just lazily put in that he needs to die because Crane apparently needs to have another character die to have some sort of character arc. Also, Lydia can control the Baron, which implies that he is also infected in some way, which might explain his insanity because it seems that when people become infected and are turning into sentient volatiles, they sort of go through this insanity sort of thing and they become the tyrannical leaders. There is a theory that he was becoming a sentient volatile, and it kind of ties into the idea of his sort of obsession around a fighting pit and his love for that and him wanting all these people to be in the pit and fight, because it ties into Bozak, who was another character from Dying Light 1 who is believed to be a sentient volatile who had the Bozak trials. This is all theories, so potentially the Baron could also be a sentient volatile or becoming one, because he is so obsessed with human evolution, Darwinism, which is also all tying back to that original book that the sort of virus is entirely based on. But Crane, honestly, he didn't need another loved one to die to have some sort of arc. In a side mission, I've stated this before, Crane implies that he loved Jade. He felt something for Jade. Jade's death haunts him. He lost Raheem as well, which was someone that he might have seen as a younger brother. You had two strong characters here who, in my opinion, were two of the better characters from Dying Light 1 that you could have used a lot more in this game's story to sort of tie into the idea that Crane believes he's a monster, he's a failure. He doesn't deserve to move on. He deserves to be where he was, which might explain why he didn't try to break out in them 13 years, why he was so passive, why he didn't try to, do anything. But they don't. Raheem is mentioned once, not by name, but visually in a side quest, which I think is crazy because Raheem is one of Crane's biggest failures. He kind of let Raheem die, but he doesn't really care. But Jade, to me, is also entirely one of Crane's biggest failures. Jade died because Crane didn't pick their side fast enough. He wasn't willing to entirely side with the people of the tower over the GRE. She died because of that. If Crane sided with them earlier, he wouldn't have allowed her to be captured by Rise, he wouldn't have allowed Raheem to die, all of that. He would have been way more willing to save people. Because remember, the reason he destroyed that Antizin originally is because the GRE told him to, which then made the tower so much more desperate for Antizin that they started interacting with Rise more. None of the first game would have happened if Crane actually was being a good person. And I think they could have used these two deaths and expanded on them more. Have these memories haunt him, and they do at the start. They have Jade's memory haunt him entirely, but she feels like she's forgotten throughout the game. And I think that's a massive problem, is they didn't want to go too much into it because, again, if you're not familiar with Dying Light 1, you're not familiar with these characters, and that's kind of the biggest problem this game has. It wants to tell a story that sort of follows on from another story. This isn't Dying Light 2, this is Dying Light the Beast. This is meant to be a spin-off game, but this is entirely what Dying Light 2 should have been. It should have followed Crane and his problems and what haunts him and sort of dived into, is he a bad person? Is he a monster because he didn't do the right thing immediately? It's a great question that should have been asked, but it's not. So obviously, because the writers don't know how to make the villain more evil as well, and they want the game to have some more stakes, they bring back another legacy character and kill him off. There's no reason to. There's honestly no purpose of this death other than to shock fans. The fans like me who love Dying Light. The new players will feel nothing at this death because they don't know who Spike is. Spike isn't a character. He barely is. He's had like maybe 17, 18 lines of dialogue and that's it. But man, it just feels so pointless. And to me, what's even more unforgivable is Crane here should not forgive Olivia. What Olivia did here got Spike killed. She didn't need to do this. She could have let Crane just run riot and just kill everything, but no, she captured him. She drugged him and put him in this situation where now Spike died. And Crane almost immediately forgives her, and it makes no sense to me. It's so clear that they want Olivia and Crane to have some sort of relationship, but they don't know how to actually write it to me. It just feels so odd to me, and it's one of the biggest downfalls of this game is still its writing. I can't believe we're 3 games in and the writing is still this bad. Again, the story is good. On paper, it makes sense, it's a good story, but the intricate details of it are so poor, in my opinion. And to me, this is why I'm so iffy about the game entirely. While Dying Light 1 didn't have the depth and the story that people wanted, it still had good moments. It still had a story within it that you could pluck at. There was ideas there. This game has a full story that lacks deep characters and big character moments and has a bunch of inconsistent character writing, in my opinion. I just think it's a bit, bad, and I think this entire scene sums it up. The writers didn't know what they wanted to do. They were torn between either going entirely on what the past was, tying entirely into Dying Light 1 and the story there with Crane, Jade, Raheem, everyone in Haran, or something new. But they were sort of caught in the middle, so they didn't go one way or the other. They didn't go entirely new characters, and they didn't go with entirely Crane fighting his past demons. So it makes a very awkward story that feels very unfocused. Honestly, I'm not going to keep rambling because I will keep just moaning, so I'm going to move on. With Crane and Aiden getting out of the chairs, the pair now chase the Baron, killing all of the Baron's men that get in their way. Now I'm going to insert my reaction to the cutscene after watching all of it. Here it is.
Okay, Oh, I'm gonna have some words to say about that. Fucking hell. It's not the death that I dislike. It is bringing him back specifically just to kill him. It is so stupid. I hate it when any story does this. He had no semblance in this game's story at all. He was non-existent. And then they just killed him off. Techland are literally writing themselves into corners. They're doing it constantly. Spike was one of the last few characters that was interesting from the first game. The only other character now is Brecken. Because I'm pretty sure the Doctor's dead. Because she was around all the infected when it started to fall. Brecken is the last character now.
Now, I also want to comment on the reason that Dying Light 2 had a whole new cast of characters was because Techland didn't really have any characters left to make a story around. And to me, it shows here that they don't understand what to do with the characters they have left. I don't think they actually understand what they want to do with Crane. Olivia, to me, is just trying to be a Jade replacement for Crane to have a love interest in the game. And I honestly don't think they need one. I don't think Crane needs a love interest. The death of Spike was just to make the Baron more evil and to give us a reason to hate him more. But we don't need that. Crane has been tortured for 13 years. We already didn't like the Baron enough. We already wanted to get revenge on him. And I just hate it. I really wish we got some dialogue between Crane and Spike reflecting on the past, but we will never get that now because Spike is dead. Let us continue. We now enter the final boss fight of the game.
He's right there.
You got nowhere left to run!
Do I look like I'm running?
I promised I'd kill you, and I always keep my promises!
A promise from a dead man walking! Too bad you won't be around long enough to keep it!
With the Baron and the help of Aiden alongside us, and it's actually a really good boss fight. It starts with him being a normal human being with a grenade launcher, but eventually after doing enough damage to him, he changes into a new infected type.
Looks like I'm going to have to end this myself. Prepare to witness the culmination of all my work. A new species. Engineered to dominate not just the virus, but humanity itself.
Fucking Attack on Titan looking ass. Also, why doesn't Crane just attack him while he's monologuing? Just like, you know, charge at him. Because I think he would be able to hit him before he injects, but that's a nitpick. This enemy type, overall, the design of it, I think it is really cool. And I would love to see it become a new zombie type. It's sort of a mix between a Volatile and a Demolisher. It's super fast, hits super hard, but a slight problem. I hate to break the illusion of the boss fight. I'm pretty sure this is just the Beast boss fight, like the moveset reused in a new skin. So it's a really cool design, but I think it's the same boss fight because the moveset feels really familiar to me. But anyway, of course, eventually Kyle will defeat the Baron and kill the Baron in the most dramatic way possible.
What are you willing to sacrifice, Kyle, to stop him?
Everything. told him I'd kill you!
Olivia.
You're alive. Did you kill him?
Just like I said I would.
Oh my god. You did it. Finally, this valley can have a new start. There is always a price.
Shut the fuck
We've
up.
lost some good people today.
Yeah.
It's good to hear your voice, Kyle. I guess our story wasn't over.
You?
What the
Are you
fuck?
fucking kidding me?
We had to go underground, but we've always been here. The Baron was one of ours, until he wasn't. As usual, you proved to be an exceptionally valuable ally. Enjoy your freedom. You've earned it.
I won't let this go. Not this time.
Leave the past where it belongs, Kyle. Focus instead on the good we can do together.
Yeah. I will focus on you.
And that ends Dying Light the Beast, with a clear indication of whatever the next game will be, Dying Light 3 or Dying Light the insert title whatever, will have a focus on the GRE being the main focal villain of the game. And I can't lie, I find it kind of funny how the GRE lady is just the helicopter. The heli did not need to appear for us to hear her voice. They could have just had her cut on the radio and that would be it. I just find it funny that the fucking helicopter is her, so yeah. But I think Techland for the next game might bring back the 4-character idea that they had for Dead Island. They wanted to do this originally for Dying Light with, of course, there is multiple characters, but the idea was believed that Brecken, Crane, Jade, and Spike would be the 4 characters. And I think it would be really cool to have this. Have Kyle, Aiden, and Lydia be their own characters, and then maybe a new 4th character that will tie into the story. And to me, the game does set up a really good future for Dying Light and a really good setup for the next game. But after beating Dying Light the Beast, what did I think? What was my genuine opinion? Well, I'm very conflicted. Dying Light the Beast is a great game. Don't get me wrong. It is the sequel that Dying Light should have gotten, for argument's sake, all them years back. This is the game that should have been called Dying Light 2, as it embodies what makes Dying Light Dying Light. Nights are scary, looting and scavenging is valuable, parkour and combat feel weighty and impactful, and for the most part, can't lie, the grappling hook still breaks the game in half and doesn't make it feel very realistic, but most importantly, it embodies what Dying Light to me is. Realistic stories about realistic people in this grimy, dirty land that makes you feel like shit. Most importantly, it focuses on what made Dying Light so fun in the first place, to begin with, the gameplay. It doesn't focus on the story, it focuses on the gameplay. The map of Casterwoods is honestly the best map we've ever gotten from Techland. It's diverse, varied, interesting, and filled with fun locales, and most importantly, it is drop dead gorgeous, which I've said multiple times in this video. Yes, this game graphically isn't no Death Stranding 2, but it couldn't be. This game had to run on the PS4 and they have done miles with what they could on that hardware. I'm so glad that they gave this game the best chance that it could have by expanding what the second DLC would have been for Dying Light 2, making it a full game itself. But despite them doing this and giving it the best chance, it does still feel hindered in some way. The Beast plays and feels extremely similar to 2. Not as bad as 2 at launch. When I played it, it probably feels what 2 does feel like now. I know some people state that it feels better than that, but if you had gripes with 2's sort of gameplay, you will have the same gripes here if, you wanted them to be completely changed. And that's because the game is so closely tied to 2. But a big problem this game has, again, is this game has written itself into a corner again. The game's story to me is Honestly, the story isn't super bad. The bones are good. The game has a good opening, it's super solid. To the discovery of the Chimeras and everything the Baron has been doing, and his origins of what his relationship is with the GRE, and sort of the first sort of 4 hours of this game, it's amazing. But the big problem that Dying Like the Beast has is what I call a no-meat burger story. We get 2 buns, but there's no meat in the middle. The game is about Kyle gathering allies to take on the Baron, and man, that's all the middle of the game is about. There is basically no story in the middle of the game because it's all about gathering allies, and while yes, the story is simple, and that's kind of what the whole point of it is, to me, it just has that sort of issue of not a lot is actually happening. It falls into the same pitfalls that Dying Light 1 had as well. Almost every major character in the main story that we meet is pretty bland in my opinion. They don't really do a lot. They don't have a lot of character moments. I mean, for fuck me, we didn't even get anything akin to Jade finding out about Raheem's death or Brecken losing his cool and crumbling under the weight of his responsibility for the tower. What we did get was a woman who backstabbed us twice and Crane didn't learn anything from it. A leader of another community who honestly doesn't really have a character at all as well. I completely forgot about Lydia at one point because she just almost doesn't do anything. This game doesn't have the benefit that Dying Light 1 has, that it has a good story that was completely gutted and is very, very barely still there. This game doesn't have that. It doesn't have them good character moments that aren't built up to. It doesn't have character relationships that were meant to be built up that have been scrapped. It has none of it. That's the biggest shame of this game. The story is good, I will be honest. If you just focus on Crane, it's good. The story is probably the best we've ever gotten, but to me, it is not better than Dying Light 1. Not only in terms of the scope of the story and what the story is actually about, but also what the story actually dives into. Again, this story dives into the same themes that the following had, and I think that's kind of a big shame again, because this is the 3rd time we've had that theme. It feels like this game is entirely here just to set up the future, and that's kind of it. And I think as the years go on and as Dying Light 3 comes out and Dying Light 4 eventually, I think this game might be forgotten and looked back at with a lot more negativity, even though it is probably the best Dying Light game we've ever gotten. And of course, the biggest sin this game commits is the death of Spike. I'm not going to go into it again, but Techland had finally a good opportunity to right the wrongs of Dying Light 1 and actually build up a character relationship for Crane, and they didn't. But yeah, I'm just going to move on. But my main problem for this game, I haven't even spoken of yet. My main problem, again, I hate to say this, is the time period. We are 15 years into the zombie apocalypse. Civilization has entirely fallen at this point, and I really don't like this time period. I think this kind of limits the kind of stories that you can tell, in my opinion, and the GRE still being around to me feels super just odd, because you have these survivors who are barely holding on, but then you have another sort of group like the Baron's Men, who have all these government facilities and are completely kitted out with guns and armor and everything in their spick and span, and it just makes this sort of weird friction between sort of the theming and everything that's going on. Dying Light 2 set out that Villador was the last major city, and now they seem like they're backtracking on it. Almost. To me, the whole point of zombie apocalypse stories is seeing the fall of society and how that plays into the people's stories and the character changes that they have. And to me, it's clear that Techland have no intention of going back to the outbreak in Haran or the fall that followed after, which to me, I think would be the best setting for a Dying Light game, the fall, because that ties more into the horror of the zombie apocalypse and sort of the loss of humanity that people have during it. Because again, we're 13 years into it. These people have already gone through their changes and their loss of humanity. So this is like a major nitpick by me, but I just don't think this time period is that interesting for storytelling. But another big gripe I had for this game as well is that the Baron is almost non-existent throughout the entire middle of the game. He does occasionally pop up, but I really do think they just needed to use him more. The voice actor is amazing, and I really do wish they used him more because I think he could have been a really good villain and actually been a highlight of this game. And I think he is. I think he is definitely one of the stronger parts of this game, but he just doesn't feel like he's used enough. They feel like they really didn't get the most out of him, which I think is a big shame as well. But despite all these problems and me bitching and, moaning completely for probably about 30 minutes now, I still very much enjoyed the game. To me, it will be the best game that Dying Light has gotten yet. And if Dying Light ended here, this would be the best game ever, just for its gameplay side. It takes the best parts from each game, merges them together, and gives us the best gameplay experience we've ever gotten, from its night to the combat, parkour, map, music, atmosphere, driving, gunplay, side quests, and activities in the open world. It is the most complete Dying Light experience we have gotten. It will be both fun to Dying Light 1 fans and Dying Light 2 fans, And I think that's kind of what we take away from it. This sets up the future so nicely for what Dying Light 3 could be. I just hope the writing is better in Dying Light 3. But what did I take away from the game? What was the storytelling to me? What was its central theme? For me, overall, it's about change. The kind of change that doesn't just shape the world, but reshapes us as individuals. Between Dying Light 1 and The Beast, in real life, 10 years have passed, a whole decade passed. And in the game's world, Haran fell apart in that world, the fall happened, Crane was captured, tortured, and twisted into something unrecognizable. And in those same 10 years, my life changed. It fell apart in some ways, it came back together in other ways that I could never have predicted. Back when I first played Dying Light 1, I was 12, 13, still living in London, playing it with my best friend, like I mentioned in that first video. I was quiet, anxious, and scared of the future. But those nights in Haran gave me an escape. 10 years later, I'm not that same person anymore. I've lost friends, I faced health struggles, I probably went through depression during that, even if I didn't always want to admit it. And I left the city I once called home and traded it for the countryside where everything felt different and unfamiliar, which kind of plays very similarly to this game's story with Crane moving out of the slums in the city to the countryside, which he doesn't recognize. And that's why The Beast to me has hit me kind of hard, because just like him, I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. Crane didn't get to choose the way he changed. Tortures and time reshaped him into who he is now, and I didn't get to choose everything that I went through, be it illness, loss of relationships due to distance, or them just changing as people for the worse and then push me away. And time itself has changed me a lot. A 12-year-old is very different to a 22-year-old now, because hey. But here's the thing, The Beast doesn't just show us the tragedy of change, it shows us the reality of it. Haran couldn't stay the same, it was never going to last forever. Crane couldn't stay the hero of Haran, and my life couldn't stay frozen in time, in the moment where I was just a kid with my best friend playing that first game, laughing our asses off. The message I take from it is we can't fight change. We can't stop people from leaving. We can't stop them from changing. We can't stop our bodies from failing, or cling to the past no matter how much we miss it. We can't wish for our friends to turn back into who they used to be. What we can do is choose how we move forward. Do we let it break us, the way it broke Crane in those 13 years, with his memories of Haran, Jade, or Raheem, or do we carry those memories, those lessons, and keep going, even when it hurts us? Life will always move faster than we want it to. People will drift away, some will be lost forever. The places we once called home will become memories and unfamiliar to us, but we can't let that crush us. We have to keep walking forward, because if we don't, we'll never see what's waiting over the next horizon. And that's why, when I look back at both Dying Light and now The Beast, I don't see a story about Haran or Crane. I see my own story. I see my life within it. It's about all of us. It's about change itself. A reminder that even though change is painful, it is also inevitable. And the only thing we can do is keep moving forward and keep hoping that the future still holds something worth living for. God damn, that took longer than I thought it would to make. But anyway, hello lads and lasses, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Now, I was planning on doing Silent Hill F next, but I will be honest, I kind of want to save it for later because these videos have been actually killing me, it feels like, and they take a long time to make, so I want to try to focus on making something shorter, maybe 30 to 40 minutes, and that will probably mean it will be the Hollow Knight video, because I'm not going to go like make the normal kind of video. It's going to be way more video essay-y, that video, I think, because I don't think I can write that the same way I write these videos. So hopefully that means the video will be made faster, and secondly, it will be a little less long to edit like this is. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. But Silent Hill F, if you want to know, I will probably do it maybe later, maybe I don't think I'll do it after, because after Hollow Knight I'll probably do a Battlefield 6 video, which I hope some of you will play it with me as well, so I can get some fun moments, because I want to try to review multiplayer games as well, because I don't want to pigeonhole myself into one kind of game. Obviously I want to make sure that I'm actively talking about and playing games, because I just like games in general. I don't just like horror stuff. Yeah, next video will probably be Hollow Knight if I have to, which was obviously the fan voted video, and then after that will probably be Battlefield. And then for Halloween I was hoping to do a big video, like 4 hours, 5 hours long sort of video, like Black Souls 2 sort of length of video, and I was planning on doing Darkwood, but I will be honest, I don't think I'm ready to do Darkwood yet. So I might do something else for Halloween, maybe something a bit shorter. Silent Hill F is 30 hours long, so like I don't think I'm going to be able to do that for Halloween, but I'll see if I can find a short horror game. If there's any like really short indie horror games that came out recently that you guys want me to do, tell me. I know No I'm Not Human came out, which I was planning on doing a video ages about, but it seems everyone's doing a video on it, so I might not. But if there's any underrated horror games that you guys want me to do, tell me and I might do them. But of course, as well, in sort of November, December time, God, it's almost Christmas, I want to do the Counter-Strike video still. Obviously, I'll need people to play it with, and if you want to play games with me, such as Battlefield, CS, when I one day do a Left 4 Dead 2 video, when I want to do all the campaigns in versus mode, versus against you lot, because I think that would be super fun to do. Join the Discord, because I will obviously put announcements there when I'm planning on doing them sort of recording sessions, because obviously I have a real job, so I need to make sure that I'm, you know, able to play for 2 to 3 hours straight so I can get some good footage. And of course, if I can include you guys, it will make the community feel more like a community, and I want to make that. But yeah, that's my plan, hopefully. And I also want to do Resident Evil 8 before the end of the year, and also a Dead Rising video, because I'm insane. But yeah, hopefully I can get all them done. But of course, I need to thank some very special people. The channel members, our company members, including Chelsea Tyler, Marty Morris, Not Saber, Game Scavenger, Artman XP, Rat, Darren76, It's Bert, Harter Phillips, Corrego, Julian Sazinski, Juniper LP, Zarolino, Kento, Ermin the Turk, Ashley, Seagood, and Lolink12. Thank you everyone, your support is greatly appreciated. But yeah, again, join the Discord if you are interested in potentially playing video games with me. I don't know if I'll stream them, because I don't know if my internet can actually handle that, because again, British countryside is always great for internet. So we'll see. I'll probably test it, see if we can stream it, and have people in the Discord at the same time, but obviously there's a risk with that, of course, because there's always a risk. But even if you just want to chill out and hang out with some people and maybe find some people to play some games with, join the Discord. People seem to be friendly there, so that's good and meant that my worst nightmare didn't occur. But yeah, thank you again everyone. That is entirely enough waffling from me. See you around. Crocodile.